Hello, hello. Well. What's up? We are back for another day. Oh, beautiful timing with the music. Beautiful timing. Oh my good gosh. Oh my good gosh damn. Well, guys, welcome. I'm Goose. Hi. So, today we're going to take a look at a message from one of my favorite childhood celebrities, Mick Foley. If you don't know who Mick Foley is, I would suggest you look him up. He's going to give us just a short message. I just wanted to intro myself. I'm Goose. Hi. We're here. We talk about a bunch of random shit all the time. And we're going to do that again today. That is just kind of the long and short of it, honestly. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about a guy named Duke, who really seems just dead set on ending his own career. And we're going to see one last video from him today, but I think that a good way to start the stream was to get right into Mick Foley's message. It's the first time I'm seeing it. Apparently he released it a little bit ago, March 18th, so a few days ago. And I just want to watch it, and I just want to, I want to let it sit with the idea of wokeness and the idea of like America first and all these culture war, terms and terminology that people use all the time. Like I want to kind of like, I don't know, just let Mick Foley's message just kind of sink in while we're thinking and talking about all that stuff. Because today we're going to be talking about the wokies, right? Like the woke left, the woke radical left, which I happen to be a member of. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the woke radical left and why it seems like people on the right side of the aisle just cannot seem to define woke. I don't know why it's taking you guys this long, but it's a shame, and it really should change. So just give me one moment. I'm just going to let this play in its entirety. It's only 4 minutes, 45 seconds long. It's 4 minutes out of your day. And I'm gonna let it play, and we're just gonna listen to Mick Foley's message. All right. If you are not familiar with Mick Foley, he, I believe, played Mankind. Who else was he? He was a few characters in the World Wrestling Federation, as I used to know it. Indeed, it is Mick Foley. We're going to listen to Mick Foley, all right? I'm going to take care of a couple of housekeeping stuff here on my OBS end, but I'll let you guys listen to him as I've already seen this.
Hello, everybody. This is Mick Foley, the hardcore legend, and this is an earnest and honest...
The fact that he says hardcore legend right out the gate tells you all you need to know.
...attempt to
Hang on, I gotta close the door so the dogs don't keep running in and out.
So far
Go ahead and listen. Keep listening.
That they
it's
can
important
still
stuff.
think for themselves. Now, if you're one of those people, like a close relative of mine, who certainly seem to feel like Alex Preddy and Renee Good deserve to die, then I'm not talking to you. Thank you for your support, and you can just, watch it and leave a mean comment or get out of the conversation now. What I'm talking about is appealing to good-hearted, sensible people who cannot believe.
And guys, if you are just randomly flipping into the vertical feed, which is on the short feed, I
listening to a TV station where they talked about...
just hang out for a couple of minutes. I'm trying to build the community. I really want to see if this shorts angle is an angle that's going to work for me, but just stick around for a little bit. Let's get the watch time up to at least 30 seconds per person. I'm only asking that you stick around for 30 seconds, but if you could, please like and subscribe. That's so helpful. So helpful.
How 65% of Americans think ICE has gone too far, and they thought that was good for America, whereas I was left thinking, wait, 35% of the American public is for this? I'm sorry, but I cannot believe that. I refuse to believe it.
It's 30% of voters, so I get where his confusion would be, but it's 30% of people polled who vote.
Refuse to believe that 3.5 out of every 10 Americans...
That's why whenever you see a person standing outside from a pack or whatever, when you see a person standing outside of places of business, they often say, "Are you registered to vote?" It's either because they're trying to get signatures for an issue that they care about, or they're trying to raise awareness for a thing.
Americans
or conduct a study
I meet would be in favor of our fellow human beings, our brothers and sisters, being treated in such an inhumane fashion. I refuse to believe it, because if 3.5 out of 10 people I meet are for that, that means far more than 3.5 out of 10 who are not people of color are for it, even more males. This is just me and my...
He's just letting the stats slide into where they fit the best. And this is a man who's toured the country numerous times. And he's deeply seated in a fan base that is made up of both sides of this political spectrum. So if anyone's words you should trust, it's Mick Foley.
My head doing the math, and that means no, we're all better than this. I'm not saying this in a condescending fashion. I'm saying I know, because I spent time with you. When I say that, I mean, I spent 15 years riding the roads with a variety of different wrestling friends and travel partners, one of whom I would consider to be very progressive. That would be Jim Cornette. The others, not gonna make anybody's list of progressives, and definitely gonna lean conservative, independent to conservative. I never had any problems with a single one of them. We had discussions, not arguments. I know it because when I was struggling, you were the people who let me stay in your spare room or on your couch because I didn't have money for a motel. You were the people, the guy who may have been wearing a MAGA hat, gladly giving me instructions when my GPS wasn't working. You are the people who smile with joy when I bounced your children on my knee as Santa Claus. And when you take the photos and you hug your children at my
Santa Claus. Mick Foley is Santa Claus. I'm not surprised, but holy shit, wouldn't you be stoked? If you're like, holy shit, wait a second, are you Mick Foley?
In small towns across this country, and I've worked in every single state, red, blue, and purple, and I've felt the love everywhere I've been. And I just refuse to believe that these people who treat me with such kindness would turn a blind eye to the cruelty that this administration is inflicting on others.
Yeah.
There was a quote I saw. A friend of mine asked me if I wanted to put out there, and I said, hold on, I think I can do better with a video message. And the quote said, It's okay to admit you were for something and no longer are. It's okay
Yeah, dude,
to
for
say
real.
that you like something in principle, but not in its execution.
Yep.
And then it went on to say the best time to speak up would have been earlier. The second best time to speak up
Right the fuck now.
is now.
Yeah.
Because years from now, when there is nothing to lose, we will all have been against this. But the time to speak up and state your case is now. Many people might not believe this, but I firmly believe the United States of America is better than this. America is better than zip tying senior citizens. America is better than chasing down agricultural workers or abducting day laborers at Home Depot. America is better than using children for bait.
Agents made Liam knock on the door, asking to let them in order to see if anyone else was home.
We are better.
Can you fucking believe that? Like, what? In coercing a child, either under threat of arrest or threat of whatever, to rat out his potential, like, family members? Fuck.
Better than
That's some Nazi-ass shit right there.
this. We are better than inflicting terror on a wide swath of this public based only on the language they speak and the color of their skin. And I think that many of you believe we're better than this too. I could be wrong. And if
The problem is that people believe that they're doing the right thing. That's the problem. They believe that it is right to kick these people out of our country, that it is right to detain them and hold them and even kill them. They believe that it is right to do these things. That's the problem. I have faith in humankind, just like a lot of people, but it gets harder to see that silver lining when a lot of the times the people that you know should be better act in complete concert with the people that you know are no better. So it's tough. It's tough to hold this bit of this optimistic of
I'm
a
wrong,
view.
I'll be devastated because I will have completely lost faith in the United States of America and its people. But you can make a difference by just speaking truth to power.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
Donald Trump reads the polls. 35% is bad. It's not as bad as the 10% that I think is more accurate. Please make a difference by using your voice. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.
Thanks,
Hello,
Mick Foley. You're a saint among men. Ah, Jesus. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I just don't think that there's a lot of hope for a lot of the people who are in power right now. That's a tough thing to wrap your head around, you know? Man. Yeah, I don't know. DC Marvel crossover? Another one? God damn, y'all. So we're taking one last journey into Duke, okay? One last journey. This is the most recent. Well, I'm going to play his response to Crispy, and then I'm going to play Crispy's response to him. Yeah. Or no, I think we watched his response. Yeah, we watched his response. So I'm going to watch Crispy's response to his response. Jesus Christ. I want to make sure that we were in the right, Trispy? The right time, in this timeline. Crispy Tavern, Tales, and Tea. All right. So, it's an hour. We're not going to watch this for an hour. I think it's mostly catch-ups. Oh, no, yeah, he okay. All right. Well, we'll play it.
Ladies and gentlemen, want to take a victory lap? I had a whole different...
I will skip around if it starts to get drawn out, but I do. It's important to add this part of the context because it helps with it helps put a cap on the story. And I did check out that other video if I can find it. I did check it out, and it didn't seem to offer too much more information. But I'll take a look at it again. I don't want to put something up here that I'm like, if I'm not entirely sure we can whatever, we can watch it. It's fine. We got a while, you know. I always act like the stream's ending in like 30 minutes. I don't know why I have that sense of urgency, but I just, maybe it comes from my kitchen days. I don't know. But let's play. I'm gonna hope that it goes
I'm going
fast.
to cover the failure of the Neopets TTRPG, but that is being put on hold for now. If you're unaware of the situation, a couple weeks.
So before I just let this play, I'm gonna let you guys know, you may see me turning off the face cam at this point in the stream, if you've never been here before. Just know that I'm still here, I'm still engaging. I just happen to medicate myself with the Cannibas. If you happen to also medicate yourself with the Cannibas and enjoy syncing up to streams, feel free to load your bowl now. We're gonna combust in about 15 seconds. Cheers. Smoke them if you got them. I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna turn off the face cam.
Ago, Duke Davis, aka One Shot Questers, a talentless hack who's most known
Bam.
for working on a green screen and making the same 3 jokes
Bam.
over and over and over again, decided to try something new. He released a nonsensical.
See, I'm not the only one that agrees with Chris, or I'm not the only one that says that. Crispy agrees with me that it is it's some guy against a blue screen who does the same, or a green screen who does. I'm showing my age here. Who does the same damn thing over and over again. Well, yeah, Skippy, you can't hit the bong unless it's a water bong. What kind of bong do you have? An air bong? Or a dirt bong? I don't think you can suck smoke through dirt. All right, cheers. Smoke them if you got them.
Piece about brand new D&D actual play show called Min-Maxed.
I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of being frustrated. I'm tired of seeing you guys get hurt. This is pathetic, man.
A video where he
Yep.
claimed that they were pathetic producers, frauds, who were taking from the D&D community and exploited vulnerable gamers. The video was a very strange watch, overly emotional and filled with very little evidence. Many of Duke's own subscribers immediately clocked that this was a really bad upload on Duke's part, and his subscriber count fell the moment it came out. It only got worse, though, when Min-Max themselves came out with an explanation for Duke's misinformation and put Duke squarely in his place.
That he's not welcoming me into the D&D community, that I'm somehow an outside threat to it.
By this point, I smelled the blood in the water. I had talked to both Min-Max and to Duke to get both sides of the story, and yeah, I knew it was happening. I knew.
It actually kind of makes sense to play this whole thing within context, because some of you definitely weren't here the last 2 days, but it took us 2 whole streams to go through all the lore that was involved in this. So this is, I guess, a good catch-up, a good recap, if you will.
There was a new lolcow being created right in front of me, and this boy needed milking. So I put out a video of my...
All right, calm down. Okay, Crispy, calm down. I love you, but calm down. Let's not talk about casually milking people in a public video setting. All right, someone might clip that the wrong way, but babe, hey, you know, that could be what you're into. That's totally fine. Totally not gonna kink shame. Definitely don't like. Oh, I definitely don't like that we paused on this frame when I'm talking about that.
own. I covered the entire situation and provide some context as to my own negative experience with Duke Davis from One Shot Questers. With the release of my video, he lost tens of thousands of subs. Now, you may be wondering to yourself,
Now, Skippy, I don't know if you are a bong connoisseur, but the water pipe, the water pipe that I enjoy the best has been the Randy's one, because it's like thick as fuck. It's super heavy, big beaker style. I'm not going to show it, but you know, if you feel so inclined.
okay, that sounds like a complete story. I mean, Duke got absolutely annihilated. Subscribers are fleeing in droves. Why in the hell would the story continue? No one's stupid enough to double down on such nonsensical... Yeah, he doubled down. What did I expect? But
Because he just
this doubling
keeps
down
he
was
just keeps
particularly
doing more and more
personal
stuff.
I mean, it was personally directed at me. A few days ago, Duke published this video. Dear Crispy, thank you for your advice, and here is my response.
This video is a response to Crispy, since most of the attacks I've been receiving as of late have come from their video, and multiple family...
The attacks. The attacks. You mean the negative comments? Saying how much you're a piece of shit for the actual evidenced stuff that you did? Yeah. I mean, not really attacks, I would say. More like deserved criticisms.
members and friends have...
Aw, Duke thinks he has friends. That's cute. And oh, what a response it is. Ladies, gentlemen, and all in between, I'm here to present to you one of the worst...
Guys, if you're
YouTube
just casually, if you're just joining, hi, hey, what's up? I'm Goose. If you could just hit the like and subscribe buttons, even if you don't give a shit. I'm trying to raise, the community. I'm trying to get monetized at some point. It definitely helps if you just click those 2 little buttons. I don't know how it works on my mobile because I'm an old man. But do whatever you're supposed to do on that.
Of all time. A video that tries so hard to be clever and snarky, but fails with every single claim that Duke makes. A video that completely misunderstands the primary reasons why the community abandoned Duke in the first place. A video that truly cements Duke's place as not but a cow to be milked for content.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, he's not noticing any of the things that we were like we were seeing. He's not noticing any of those issues. Like the we is, I mean, like me and you guys. You haven't had a bong in years? Joints and bowls? You mean like just pipes? Ugh. Got to get water in there, man. Makes it so much smoother. So much smooth.
This is
He just kept making it worse and worse and worse.
I know that you're an insecure little rat, and I know that you're watching this, so I'm going to address you directly here. You could have just apologized. You could have just moved on, but no. You chose this. Welcome, my friend. The bell tolls on your career. Heaven's half hour is here, Duke. I would tell you to savor it, but we both know the only person that's going to be having fun right now is me. Without further
You're not drinking anything.
ado, ladies and gentlemen, what the hell happened?
I don't like to see an empty glass like that, okay? You weren't drinking anything. You could have at least put water in there, you know? Put something in there.
I'm sad. Is he crying?
I'm sad!
I realize this guy's gonna start crashing the fuck out. Why? One-shot Westerns is a...
Keep going.
No, like...
Keep going. Keep going.
Duke's original video, the original hit piece made on MinMax, because many of Duke's arguments hinge entirely on you forgetting exactly what he said. The biggest problem with Duke's original video is the thumbnail claim that the MinMax crew are
I really don't want this to
pathetic.
be...
In my own content, I call people like white supremacists and sexual exploiters pathetic. Duke uses the word to describe people who he accuses of buying equipment that he doesn't like and
It's dense, but it really is worth it to see the whole thing, honestly.
spending money in places that he wouldn't. He doesn't really talk about anything all that serious. He views financial decision differences as moral failings, and furthermore claims that his own opinions on how the money should be spent are the objective truth. And by not following those objective truths, the MinMax crew are pathetic. That was the fundamental flaw of his video. Worse than that, many of his accusations against
Yeah, that's
MinMax,
too
especially
much.
the ones in relation
I was going to try and go at
how they are
1.75 speed, but
financially
that just makes him
exploiting
sound
the
like a
community.
chipmunk.
The set, the gaming table, the venue, the logo, the tablets, the camera recorders, the mics, the sounds,
What?
the lighting, $10,000 of people's donated money served nothing for them.
Well, much of that evidence stands on a foundation of sand and vapor. It's mostly speculation. Well, the worst examples of this was how he treated their claims of Season 2. Despite the fact that Duke was so mad at them for spending too much money on gear, he also got really mad at them for saving money to ensure Season 2 would happen. His criticism...
Yeah, like I said, it was just a back and forth. I think we're still like kind of going through the context here.
Face. His attempts at being catty are failing as hard as his career, but I actually have all 4 blue posts.
He did save them. Remember that part
he sort of implies that I'm trying to take him out of context. He actually
where I
uses
was
those to
like,
defend himself when it comes to the whole,
he's
you know,
gonna
employee-
say,
in my
or he says in his like qualification, like for why he left the D&D community, and he's like, why don't you ask Crispy for those blue posts? I'm sure he has them, you know. And then says right now,
I use footage from his failed comedy tour as B-roll when talking about his employees because
That's
he had
good
another
shit.
person on stage with him. To be clear, I never directly addressed this comedy partner. They were just used as an example. Duke said he no longer had any other on-screen talent, and it was very sensible of me to assume that this guy was among them. Duke has response to this inside the blue post. I don't have the original blue posts anymore and deleted them from all my socials when my mental health started to become less negative.
This is pathetic.
see what I'm saying?
Man,
You sure?
It's pathetic, man.
Since Crispy seems to have them saved, ask Crispy to show you the first post in that thread where I say at the beginning what happened. to my
Yeah, right here, yeah. Since Crispy seems to have them saved, ask Crispy to show you the first post in the thread where I stated at the beginning what happened to my comedy partner. There were 4 pictures in that thread, so make sure Crispy sends you each one. It was so
There were 4 blue pictures in
stupid.
that thread, so make sure Crispy sends you
What a
each
little
one.
man.
Smile.
What a little
His
man.
attempts at being
What a
catty
sad
are
little
failing as
man.
hard as his career.
You
But
poor
I
man.
actually have all 4 blue posts. In any case, let's take a look at that blue post to see what he's talking about. Reed, the comedy partner, was needed back at home. And I'm incredibly proud of him for making that choice. I wish him nothing but the best. Thank you, Reed, for everything you did for the channel while you were with me. Well, I'm grateful that Reed made the right decision and went back home, but you screwed over a bunch of others. Reed specifically doesn't really matter to me. But what's hilarious about this is this whole claim of Duke's, that he didn't really screw over Reed specifically. I mean, it's kind of counteracted by the sentence right above there. Unfortunately, nothing stayed consistent. From the content itself to the channel's identity, it all felt scattered. I like to put it this way. The channel lost its identity during this period. That lack of consistency also blends to the live shows we were performing. As of now, we will no longer be putting on any more live shows for the foreseeable future.
Ouch.
You plan to screw over Reed regardless of whether or not he went back to his family.
Ouch,
dude.
Duke.
Come on. You were already going to cancel the live shows probably because they weren't making enough.
More receipts. See again, and I really do just want to summarize because I would love to move on from this topic. Again, we spent the last 2 days talking about it. It just is so satisfying to know that Duke is being replied to in such a comprehensive and well-researched fashion. I mean, there's some stuff about how
also, Duke
he was like
ignores the context in which I
abusive
made the joke because it wasn't just
and
me
like
him. Okay, it was a little.
how he was like intimidating people,
That sucks. The point is, Duke, it's showing off.
and then how he wasn't able to keep his employees, so like how he just let them all go in a post. It's all there. I would highly recommend that you watch this video. It's just Crispy's Tavern if you type in Crispy's Tavern in YouTube. It is a very good video, and it puts a really good bow onto this whole matter. I just don't really want to spend more time on it. Again, last 2 days. I would love to get to Marvel stuff. So yeah, there's this apologetics video. I'm probably not going to get there. So this didn't show up on my feed, but a critique of this showed up on my feed. And I mean, if you notice, the thumbnail isn't one too kind just to old Spidey in general, right? You can see clearly this guy has a great love. We've covered him once before on the channel, but it was very briefly. You'll notice that there's quite a preference for the R slur and a good amount of disdain for anything LGBTQ adjacent. I think this is his stuff, right? I think this is his video. Yeah. So I think there was a time, and the lore is not nearly as deep on this guy as it was for the whole min-maxed drama thing. That just, it perpetuated itself. This is a guy that really should have already been removed from YouTube. And I don't know why he hasn't been yet. But I think he's kind of always been like this, I'm punk, I'm metal, but like also a chud, like just doesn't like anything woke or LGBTQ. I mean, we'll see if because I want to give some context first. It's always, whenever I do a thing like this, we're doing the research in real time, right? So that if I was to chop this up in a video later, I can make it look like, hey, I'm all smart and stuff, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants just like you guys are. But for these kinds of things, where I'm basically accusing somebody of being just a dickhead, I want to kind of just back that up somehow. And so I think what really helps is to see where they started and then where they've ended up. And granted, this is only 4 months. What we can do instead is we can just go to his videos and we can look at the oldest. It's mostly about music, I think. Yeah, but I think that he disabled any videos that were older than a year ago. So I don't know that we're really going to get much added context. I think that 4 months is just as good as a year in this case. But we'll take a look at the first video as well, just again for some added context. I like to make a deep bench of the lore. Okay, all right. And if you're just joining, welcome. I'm Goose. We're about to look at an anti-woke guy. If you like looking at anti-woke guy content, then I'm your anti-woke content guy, Goose. I'm also an old man, So entertain your grandpa. All right? Stick around in the chat. Say what's up to the other chatters. You know how this shit works. I don't need to explain it to you. You're probably Gen Alpha. You're probably scrolling around. You've taken your phone, like you gave the teacher a dummy phone because, and I imagine that you're probably in high school, okay? And you've taken the dummy phone that you've given to the teacher, and you've now brought out your real phone and are scrolling under the desk, thinking that your teacher can't see it, but your teacher can totally see it. And you're looking around for like just whatever content, and you see this, and you're like boring, and you move on, and then you never see me again. That's the punchline. That's the joke. That's the end of the joke. You're welcome. I bet you're laughing very hard right now. Get it? Because I was about to go into something that would explain. I just dropped to 0 viewers. Yeah, tough crowd. No, it's I was about to launch into a whole thing, but then I didn't because you scrolled and you never saw me again. You see, that was the punchline. That was the punchline to the joke. It was very funny. It was very funny. Well, thank you for the reassurance, Skippy. I suppose I appreciate it. But, just if I could just gauge chat real quick, just get a feel of the temperature in the room. Do you guys think that Spider-Man is too woke now? Is Spider-Man woke? And I think specifically Spider-Man is who I'm talking about. But his video that we're going to cover here in a second, once we've established the lore, that seems to be what it's arguing. Is that somehow Spider-Man is woke. So, just let me know. Let me know what you think. Is Spider-Man too woke? Is he too woke? Is he not woke enough? What is woke? Most people on the right can't even define it still. And it's been how long? Too long. All right.
So zombie movies and horror movies are a lost art. From the 30s all the way up to the end of the 80s, we got some of the most awesome movies ever made. But you cannot deny that the genre from the 90s onward has fallen due to a lot of things such as...
Skippy, I don't know what woke is like. What woke is, it's like a blanket statement. Woke is very, very simply being aware of historical and current racial, ethnic, cultural issues, and the gaps, like, where we're not meeting the standard for those things and wanting that to change. That's it. People say it as simply as being aware of racism and being an advocate for that to change. But I think it's worth it trying to explain it a little bit. But yeah, it is really just, it is a term that was coined by black activists during, I think it was in the wake of the Rodney King beating. I can't remember. It was a significant event in our recent history. And it came up out of protesting from those circles and was, again, repopularized in the wake of the George Floyd killing because people were marching in the streets, and one of the most frequent signs you would see would be "Stay woke." And that came hand in hand with an election year and a cycle of culture wars, stochastic terrorism that basically painted anything woke as radical leftist thugs and Antifa. I've been around for all that. That's how I know that. I've been right here. Something you may notice about this guy is he seems quite small. He seems quite small. He's elevated in his chair. Very much. Not in a relaxed state. Like as you see this hunk of a giant man here. I'm 6'3", by the way. In case you were wondering. It fluctuates between 6'3" and 6'4". Every time I go to the doctor, they give me a different measurement. So I don't know if I'm an in-between size. But I don't think that exists. I mean, 6'3" and a half? Okay. But, I mean, when you use half sizes, people think that you're trying to compensate or something. I don't know. I just won't make claims. I say I'm 6'3". That way, if people are impressed that I'm actually taller than I say I am, then, there you go. There's a little bit of extra respect you get there. Incidental respect. That's just gravy on the top. Anywho, it looks like he's standing on a literal soapbox, from like the early 1900s. Like he's got the box with the wooden sides and the slats, and he's like standing up there with the chin up. You see he's compensating with the chin up. I'm a bodily behaviorist. Don't check up on that. He's got the chin up. He's got the pug nose. And, of course, he's a ginger, which means no soul. But he's standing defiant, which means he's probably compensating for something. Just a hunch.
Unwillingness to use practical effects when they are clearly superior. Some real grit and passion.
Wrong! Modern day filmmaking is often best in special effects circles with a mixture of both practical and digital effects. Some people decide to go much more into practical, which they would then use CG to like clean things up and to edit out, lines and things like the ropes and whatnot. Of course, absolutely. But some people lean heavier into digital formats, spending more money on digital assets. That's fine too. But no, practical media is not always better than digital.
Behind the filmmaking. And also, just put simply, back before the 90s, horror was 10 times more awesome. So today I'm going to give you my top 6 most badass zombie horror movies ever made. But before we get into it, if you want to see more videos like this one, let me know. And if you want to help out the channel, maybe consider subscribing or becoming a patron. Now, I know on this channel I talk about comics all the time, and there's tons of great horror comics and manga that I could recommend. Like one of my last videos I did about Devilman, which is one of the best horror manga ever made. But for this video, I'm going to be talking about the best movies that the 60s, 70s, and 80s has to offer.
Fairly tame, right? Pretty tepid. I have no problem with it so far. It's giving YouTuber vibes. Just straight up average YouTuber energy. Maybe he could pick it up a little bit, be a little better lighted, but that's just my own preference, all right? You do you. But so far, so good. Continue, good sir.
So for
I'm
my
going to speed
number
it up a
one
little
pick,
bit.
this might seem like a little bit of a cop-out because half of it isn't really a zombie movie. I'm going to have to go with Night of the Creeps.
I got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
Thrill me.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
So this is a movie that I didn't see up until recently, but little did I know, it's literally anything you could want out of an 80s horror movie. Now we are going to get onto the real proper gritty gory zombie movies in a second, but I think Night of the Creeps deserves a mention because the movie beats out a lot of the 80s horror movies that people say are great. Now the 80s is up there for...
And I mean, you guys now we're still taking, everything that we see as canon, right? So this is all lore building. So we don't know yet that he's an anti-woke, R-slur using chud, right? We don't know that yet. So we're there in the timeline. But if I can just open a window into the future real quick from this point in the timeline, it's funny that he would say Night of the Creeps, considering the fact that in that movie, the hero ends up being a handicapped kid. Well, you don't say handicapped, you're differently abled. He has a congenital disability. I believe it's some kind of palsy. I'm not sure. Cerebral. No, it's not, because he doesn't, I don't know. Not sure. But it's a kid on crutches who essentially saves the day. It's his... I won't spoil it for a 50-year-old movie, but he does a thing that makes him a hero in the end.
My favorite decade of movies
does a thing
and
at the
horror, but this
beginning.
decade
You
also
get
has a
it.
tendency to give us some really shitty movies that people overrate for some reason, like a lot of the slashers that I don't really love. But Night of the
My guess is that the reason he doesn't love Sleepaway
give us
Camp
some
is
really
because it has a transgender person in
shitty
it.
movies that people over...
Now, Pumpkinhead. Why the fuck would you ever say that Pumpkinhead's not good? I don't know any person, or Poltergeist for that matter. Obviously, Sleepaway Camp because it has a transgender person in it, but neither Pumpkinhead nor Poltergeist. Those are both good movies. Well, whatever.
great for some reason, like a lot of the slashers that I don't really love. But Night of the Creeps is one of those movies that I don't really hear many people talking about, but it is one of the best. So basically, this movie is about these two college nerds that need to fight off an army of zombies with the help of a badass detective played by the horror legend Tom Atkins. So this movie isn't like the other ones on this list that are these ultra-violent, R-rated horror movies. And usually that's a massive turn-off for me in a horror movie. But Night of the
Yeah, but this one's against anyone that could be seen as ableist. So, I don't know. Take that.
Creeps has so much going for it that it doesn't really matter, because you can tell the guy who made this movie really has a love for the genre. For example, many of the characters in the movie have names referencing George A. Romero, David Cronenberg, Sam Raimi. There's also references to kick-ass 80s heavy metal throughout the movie. And to top it off, this isn't just set in the 80s, it also has sequences that are in black and white, harkening back to classic 1950s sci-fi. And this movie has it all: aliens, zombies, badass one-liners, and something that a lot of the crappy 80s horror movies that I was talking about earlier don't have, which is a good story.
But a chick in the lead ultimately is one of the only two remaining leads. It's like a final girl. I mean, like, this is exactly the kind of movie that an anti-woke chud would not be into. Just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe, you know, maybe it's an act. Maybe it's a grift. We shall see in the end.
Pacing and clever dialogue. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but with some of these shitty movies that people recommend, you don't get that at all. And Tom Atkins from The Fog and Maniac Cop plays a similar character here. And I don't know, the guy in real life must have an interest in hard-boiled detectives, because in Maniac Cop, he played this trench coat wearing detective hunting down the killer. And the same.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. It's the whole thing. That's Tom Atkins in person. That's his whole thing. He would wear a trench coat everywhere he went if he could, and act like a detective. Just, I mean, he's dead now, but. You know, maybe in his grave, in the afterlife, he's in some detective's office and doing that. You know, I don't know.
Goes here where his character is this old detective who reads Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett novels. And I don't know about you, but that just instantly makes me love this movie. The fact that there's a detective in the movie who reads detective novels and finally gets a chance to kill some zombies, and ends up with this old detective and these two
yeah, well, we all have hard days, Skippy.
Nerds basically having to save the world and save the girl. There's assholes out there who say that people like me would never be able to handle a movie with a female protagonist, but this movie has a damn fine distress character.
Yeah, I said that. I just said that. I just accused him of that.
Who also turns out to be a badass. So Night of the Creeps, definitely not the most darkest or goriest movie on this list, but definitely worth your time. Okay, so for the number 2 spot, I'm gonna put
So it is just a grift. But I mean, he didn't admit anything. He just said, like, there are some people out there who would, you know, accuse me of hating this because it had a female lead. Yeah. Judging by every single other video you've made, yeah.
Movie that is a really early zombie movie. The Plague of the Zombies is kind of a black sheep in the Hammer horror catalog, and I can make full videos about all of Hammer's franchises like the Dracula and Frankenstein series, because to be honest, this company rules and it does stuff that people still talk about to this day. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, for example, you'll hear morons talking about garbage like the brand new Nosferatu remake, talking about the atmosphere and how gothic it is. If you want real gothic horror, just watch Universal's Dracula and Frankenstein for the mastery of gothic horror. Every single Hammer horror movie is a gothic masterpiece, like the first 3 Dracula movies and the first 2 Franken.
Do you know what gothic means? I think he's conflating the theme of architecture and art with the cultural movement, which they are not congruous. Like the theme of like art is like it was just before Baroque, right, or something like that. It was like classic architecture with like jutting skyscraper like looking, you know, arches and things like that. Like it's not. And like castles and like, you know, motifs, like dark motifs, like earth tones and things like that. It's not anything to do with like incubus, succubus, or raves, or you know, like, I don't know. Older movies did have more soul. I think new movies have just as much soul as old movies do. You just got to watch the right ones. You can't look at a movie from the MCU and be like, I'm going to need to be able to change my life after I watch this. But movies like Lost in Translation, well, I mean, I guess that is an older movie. But Rental Family. I felt a lot of emotions watching that. And it was a roller coaster. It wasn't just a log flume. All right?
Beat out any modern horror movie that is...
Humphrey Bogart. I mean, yeah, but there have been other great actors since then.
Pretending to be gothic. And The Plague of the Zombies is no exception. Don't be fooled because the movie isn't some famous zombie movie. It is one of the best.
I got eyelashes.
And I know there's movies out there like White
Poking
Zombie,
my
and I
eye.
think there's some Italian stuff that came before this, but this movie definitely influenced George A. Romero, which we'll get onto later on in the list. But this movie is everything great about a Hammer horror production. It's a small village being terrorized by a voodoo cult of zombies. And just because this movie came out in 1965 doesn't mean it isn't scary, because it definitely is horrific. There's some scenes in this movie which, in my opinion, beat out Dawn of the Dead. And coincidentally, the zombies look the exact same as Dawn of the Dead. Misty, fog-filled graveyards, some terrifying zombies with some great special effects. Makes Plague of the Zombies definitely worthy of a spot on the most kick-ass zombie movies ever made. Okay, so number 3 on this list is a cult classic, and it is loved by many people. But at the same time, I don't think it's given the credit it does deserve. Lucio Fulci's Zombie, otherwise known as Zombie Flesh Eaters or Zombie...
Now, I know that I sped this up, but he does mostly have this cadence. We'll get to it. So again, seemingly normal, right? We'll spare each other having to watch the rest of this one, but seemingly normal, right? Let's just skip to the last part of it. Seemingly normal. This will be lame, but the Star Trek Next Generation episode called The Inner Light changed my perspective on the world. TV and movies, all art, has the potential to change people's lives for the better, and or for the worse, whatever. But that's kind of the reason why it exists. It's to make you feel something. And it doesn't matter if you're looking at a Clunge or a Rothko. If you don't give a shit about either of them, then you're not going to want that art, right? But then if you see something on like a cafe wall that some local spray painter did, and you contact him, you get a print from that guy, and you get it framed, and you cherish it for the rest of your life, which art was more valuable? The one that made you feel something. Gosh darn it. There's a great few back and forths between Kingpin and his would-be wife after, when they're talking about the rabbit in the snowstorm, which is in the Netflix series. It's like the first couple episodes where you see Kingpin and he's talking about how he perceives the rabbit in the snowstorm scenario. It was the wall in his childhood home that he looked at whenever he would hear his dad beating his mom. And by the end of the 3rd season, his blood is splattered across it, which is like some really great writing. This series, the Daredevil, and we'll get there because I plan to do mostly a moment by moment review. I'm gonna have to put it. I'm not gonna put it on the screen here, but I'm gonna have to put it up so that I can actually remember what I was thinking during last night's watch through. I was a little stoned, but that actually helps me focus. So,
but instead, just a bunch of...
I know people say that, and it's not true for them. So you have no reason to believe me.
It's getting wiped out. Because punk rock isn't always about politics. Sometimes it's just about sticking up your middle finger.
I guess if it's just an aesthetic, it's not always about politics, but in general it is. Punk rock is not just a musical style. Like, it was a cultural movement. Don't you come from, like, Ireland or some shit? Shouldn't you know this?
And going against the grain. And this movie does that to some extreme...
No, it's not about going against the grain. Those are like the skinhead punks. Those are the people that actual punks didn't like. That are like posers, I guess you would say. Posers, or like, what is it? I guess posers, yeah. Wannabes. But like, it was about bucking authority. It wasn't about just being contrarian. That's like what a 12-year-old would think. Is he 12? He looks 12. I hope I'm not verbally attacking a young person here, okay? I hope not.
Sense. For example, the movie lacks...
I think he's like in his 20s.
The main protagonist that is some badass. Instead, everybody is an idiot who just gets...
Tarman! I have a bunch of Tarman.
Extreme extents. For example, the movie lacks a main protagonist that is some badass.
Look at him. Look at him. I have, let's see. Got this guy. Tarman. Pretty cool. Let's see, I got some more Tarmans. Oh, there's one in there. which you can't see. It's this one. This one here. Pretty cool. And I think there's another one. It's like if you remember Polly Pocket or Mighty Max, it's one of those. It's a playset based on the Tar Man. Damn, there's a lot of Tar Mans. This one. Pretty cool. Where was he? Where was he? He was right here. And I think... no, pull those out. I think that's it for Tar Man. There's a few of them, though. And then over in the display case, there's a Tar Man or two. I think there's two. Yeah. Ugh. Pretty damn cool, huh? Oh, we're down to 0 viewers. Or, well, 1 viewer. Well, fine then. I won't show off my action figures anymore. I'm going to take them and I'm going to go home, alright? Taking all my action figures. I'm going home.
Instead, everybody is an idiot who just gets killed. And an even bigger example is the fact that one of the punk rocker chicks in the movie is naked for the entire thing. So I don't know who made this decision making this movie, but in my opinion, it's genius. All that stuff aside, the movie is shot excellently with great rain, atmosphere.
It's genius because naked lady? What?
And fog, and truly has one of the best settings with all of these skeleton zombies rising out of the grave with thunder and lightning whilst punk rock is playing. It's kind of hard to explain to somebody who doesn't read comics, but the way that Return of the Living Dead actually has balls is the same way that a lot of comics do. And that's my best description of Return of the Living Dead, a zombie horror movie with
that it has balls.
Balls. That isn't afraid to have massive amounts of gore and nudity and just stupid characters. This is my type of movie right here, and if you haven't...
I mean, this is a lot of movies in the 80s. It has balls. All right.
Seen it already, watch it or else. And now for the final spot on this list, it's going to get a little bit controversial and political, even though it shouldn't really have to, and I have a belief that horror movies aren't really about anything. The worst...
Right. No political messages in Night of the Living Dead. Definitely not. No political messages in... What was it? Psycho? Sure. Things like... yeah, sure. Totally. No horror creators have ever been political. Yeah. Totally. Totally.
The type of pricks on this planet are the type of people who try to tell you that a movie you like is actually about something else. And without going too off...
I mean, what if they're just saying what the person who created it was thinking? You know, why movies can be about something else. That's why it's called art. It's interpretive. But it's up to the artist's interpretation as to the final meaning of the piece. Like, you can say, I felt sadness looking at a peach, and then the artist can come out and say, like, well, it's about anger, and you can understand that. And you can say, oh, yeah, I don't know why I felt sadness, but that's what I felt. Neither is invalid, because art is interpretive. It's how it makes you feel. That determines what good art is.
Off topic, that's all this channel is people commenting and getting mad, telling me that some comic or manga is actually about something else. And I have nothing...
Oh, so you're mad at your viewers. Okay, so you don't like your viewers. I get it. I get it. He doesn't like the people that support his content. I got it. Okay.
Really say those people other than go fuck yourself. A horror movie
okay, he's telling his fans his 27.7 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, to go fuck themselves. Interesting tactic. Maybe I should start doing that. Do you think I'll get 20,000 subscribers if I start telling y'all to go fuck yourselves? I mean, I'll take the hit. You know? If it means I'll get those 20K. I'll do it. You don't have to force me. I love telling people to go fuck themselves.
Eating people is about zombies eating people. It's not about leftism or politics. No.
What? No. Yes, it is. It's about consumerism overall. But that has to do with corporations and basically training people to become living dead people. You know, attached to their phones, attached to their routines, attached to their dead-end jobs, all that kind of shit. At least that's what Romero was saying. Fulci was probably saying something different about Italian politics. But you get what I'm saying. Like, a lot of horror movies, like a lot of them, like a lot of, I would say like 90% of them, the other 10% are just money laundering ventures, but 90% of horror movies, I would say, especially in the 70s and 80s, and 90s, I guess, fuck you for being too young, like, they were mostly political. Like, they were mostly a message about politics. The original Night of the Living Dead was a message about civil rights. How easy it is for a group of white men to see a horrific incident and immediately shoot the only black man there, thinking that he's the culprit, not even giving it a second thought. Like, how is that not political? Insane to say that art does not have a message.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not about the death of the hippie movement, whatever the fuck that means. So with all of that out of the way, the number one...
Arguably it was an expose on like the awareness of desensitizing people to acts of violence and absurdly crude imagery. There was a whole campaign that went on by the production, whoever, the studio, who made Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they were trying to put a mirror up to like how absurd it is. That it was like in an answer to the Satanic Panic, you know, the initial flurry in the late 70s. It was about absurdity. It was about severity. It was about being the most disturbing thing in media and still being consumed by all manner of different people. It is a political message. Like, God fucking damn it. I'm not supposed to be getting angry. We're filling out the lore here. This is supposed to be a kind of tame video, but it's already getting me angry. Next, you're going to tell me Django is political. For real. People just, I guess they read too much into things, you know? Or so much. I don't know. Who gets it? Who understands? Who can understand the workings of the mind, you know?
Zombie movie of all time that broke all of the rules and is revolutionary to this day is George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Now, I was just about to say, what can I...
Oh my god. Are you really not going to say that... Are you going to say that this movie isn't political?
I say about this movie that hasn't been said already, but there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been said already. Like the fact that George A. Romero stated that he never intended any politics in this story. And to me...
I'm going to call bullshit.
That is very clear. This is basically one of the best horror movies ever made. And you can watch this movie and not see any allegory or message. And if you do, you're probably an asshole who needs to go back to reading the Communist Manifesto. Because if you can't see that this is basically just one of the most awesome things ever made, then I don't know what's wrong with you. This movie has not only everything a zombie movie should have, but also every single thing a horror movie should have. Badass masculine characters who smoke and shoot zombies. Female characters that can be a damsel in distress and sometimes fight back. Groundbreaking gore that is shocking to this day. And some of the best visuals ever put to film. Seriously, I adore everything about this movie. It's a movie that a lot of people have probably watched, but if you haven't, save it for October 31st. It has the amazingly shot, dark, contained setting of this house where survivors have to camp out. And not only that, the entire movie is in black and white, which in my opinion is the way horror movies should be. And I don't mean that every single horror movie should be. I love the horror movies that are in color, like the Hammer horror movies that showed us blood and guts, and all of the 80s stuff. But in my opinion, black and white truly gets the point across of what...
Yeah, but you're saying that a posse of good old boys who immediately shoot a black man encountering him in the wake of a terrifying, horrific event is in no way political. They just assumed that he was the one that committed the crimes.
A horror movie is, and that is no better shown than in this, where you see some of the darkest stuff ever shot for its time. Great use of Dutch angles and unorthodox camera work that would go on to inspire the legend Sam Raimi in Evil Dead 1 and 2, which I can make entire videos about because all of those movies are masterpieces. But Night of the Living
And totally not political either, right?
Dead sees these random people bunched up in a house that have to survive. And spoiler alert, none of it goes well. Every single thing goes wrong, which is something that I admire in a horror movie. There's no happy ending and there's no hero that really comes out on top. George A. Romero breaks all the rules in this movie. Some stuff I probably can't say on YouTube, but this movie has a lot of gore and disturbing stuff, even though it is in black and white, leaving the blood and guts and terror to your...
I mean, it's not that gory. I mean, it is. I mean, kinda. I guess if your definition of gory is something like, I don't know, something you would only see on television, like edited for content, but not for a lot of 80s stuff. It wasn't really that groundbreaking. I don't know.
Imagination is just genius. That probably wasn't even on purpose, but made this a masterpiece. And I hate how Night of the Living Dead has become some movie that people want to make political, when Romero said it himself that it is not about that at all. And this movie is inspiring.
Are you not going to cite that? Am I going to have to find it myself? Romero never said Living Dead was political. Politician. Despite widespread analysis suggesting otherwise, he maintained that the casting of Black Lead was based on talent rather than social statement, and the film focused on societal collapse and 1960s anxieties rather than overt political messaging. Oh, okay. Well, I guess maybe he's correct in this. It's coming from Reddit, so I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's that good or reliable, you know. Unintentionally, I mean, but I guess isn't that just a reflection of the times, you know? I don't know. Well, okay. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not political, or it wasn't intended to be political. But again, art is interpretive. It's how makes you feel, not how it makes the creator feel. And I guess it's okay to say that Romero didn't plan to make it political, but it ended up being political. That's cool too, you know? People need a vehicle for their beliefs, right? A lot of Christians base their belief on the Bible. Point made.
Every single horror movie to this day. A lot of people haven't even seen this. And just on my last point about Night of the Living Dead, it's a shame that such an awesome feat in filmmaking and horror is down to some political ideology that wasn't even in the movie. But ignore all of that bullshit. Night of the Living Dead is easily one of the best horror movies ever made and the best zombie horror movie. So if you're a fan of classic horror or any of these movies, or if I left anything out, do let me know in the comment section below. So if you haven't already, delve into the ultimate...
Right, so by the time we got to the end here, not so bad. Not so bad. Mostly tame. There's a little bit of, you know, pushback. He believes that movies aren't political, which is a weird observation, but overall, pretty okay. So far, not super into like anger territory, not really like raging about anything. But let's take a look. We won't do thrash metal versus speed metal. I don't really give a shit either way. But I think that gives enough context. I think that gives enough lore. It's a few months ago, and perhaps maybe he sees like a dip in viewers and he thinks, okay, maybe I've got to tame myself up. But it was tame. I think that's what we can all establish just by looking at that one example. And now let's look at his most recent video.
Spider-Man Brand New Day is the most retarded...
Now it's not sped up. We didn't just teleport to the place where he does the shitty thing. The first 3 seconds we have an R-slur. It's already shaping up to be quite the spectacle.
Piece of shit I've seen in a very long time. Somehow 4 movies into Tom Holland's run as Spider-Man still has him falling around the place, acting like a complete handicap.
I believe it was actually Jackie Chan who pioneered the idea of a hero being able to get hit and being able to like show that in fight choreography where you are demonstrating how fallible or how vulnerable or whatever. It's another way to show the emotional state and the impact of the trauma that one has endured in the film through a fight scene. Jackie Chan, smart dude. Yeah, that's why Rumble in the Bronx is so fucking good. Although that was the legend Dennis Ho. That was the guy that taught Jackie Chan. That wasn't like, or like taught him like about fight choreography. I know a thing or two. All right, sometimes.
Even with 4 movies and a new universe under his belt, this guy still manages to be the...
You picked one of the worst ones. No, honestly, Rush Hour is not bad. I like it. Shanghai Noon is probably really bad. That if I was to rewatch that, I probably would not like it as much.
The biggest cock known to man.
So, Arsler, what else did he say? A handicap. That's why. Wow, that's why it was hard to remember because I rarely ever hear that. He called him a handicap. A handicap. Like a handicap. He gets tossed around like a handicap. Like. So he's been ableist twice. And he's then said cuck because MJ, who doesn't even remember him, has moved on. Like, she found like a person to date. That's not weird. She doesn't. There's a spell that made everyone not remember who Peter is. So naturally, she would just go living like normal. What did he expect? What? This is just a story beat.
Even if it breaks Peter Parker's...
And I guarantee you by the end, if Jean Grey is in the movie, if Sadie Sink does play Jean Grey, like she's going to have the memories come back. Like they're not going to have Zendaya with the price tag that Zendaya comes with to not have her be MJ again. That just doesn't seem cost effective. That seems like them flushing money down the toilet just to have an analog from Euphoria. He needs to 50 first dates. Okay. I don't know if that would help because it's not like she has retrograde amnesia. Like she doesn't forget the last 30 seconds or reset every day. Like she just doesn't like, so she could get to know him and then she would learn about him. So she could just by default fall in love with Peter just by sheer nature of communicating.
Part.
But apparently, this story beat means that he's somehow a cuck? He's trying to protect her. Like, this is him being a hero. And only someone who doesn't understand Spider-Man, like in his very core at all, would say that this is him being a cuck. This is him being heroic.
Oh yeah, and just because they shittily recreated some classic comic covers doesn't...
Right. They recreated some classic comic covers. It's a pretty cool thing to do. If you can do it, like people have been waiting since they were kids to see the classic comic covers depicted on the screen, and this is what they're doing. That's pretty cool. It's pretty damn cool.
To make this absolute cinema anywhere near good, especially for the people who are hyping this up and saying that it's a...
I don't think that anybody's gonna claim that the new Spider-Man is absolute cinema. I don't think that there are any people other than maybe kids who are gonna like think that people should be studying this in film class. I'm fairly certain that most people everywhere do not consider this to be the next Scorsese hit. I don't know who's saying that in your circles, but I've not heard that opinion.
Amazing.
I have heard that it's going to be amazing, but only because people are making a joke about the name Amazing Spider-Man.
Haven't read any of the comics.
Neither of you. If you don't understand the relationship or why Peter is being cucked, or if you just ignore that for some reason, then you're being disingenuous, and nobody likes a dishonest doohickey. Doofus. Nobody likes a dishonest doofus. I said doohickey, and that's not insulting. I don't know why. Douchebag. Yeah, nobody likes a dishonest douchebag. There we go. I'll edit that to make it look like I'm very smart.
That they're referencing, and also ignoring all of that, it just looks like it was made by AI for spastics on Twitter who eat up every single piece of guy slop they get fed. But before we get into it, if you like these type of videos and if you want to help out...
Of what? Guy slop? Is that what he said? Or did he say gay slop?
It just looks like it was made by AI for spastics on Twitter who eat up every single piece of guy slop.
Guy slap?
Made by AI for spastics on Twitter who eat up every single piece of guy slop.
Goy slop? Like the Jews and the Goys? What is it? What is he saying? It says guy slop on the caption, but I don't think that's correct. What could it be?
They get fed. But before we get into it, if you like these type of videos and if you want to help out the channel, maybe consider subscribing or supporting me over on Patreon. And if
he says this with dead eyes. Like none of this, there's no emotion anywhere. Except for, I guess, baseline anger?
you're somebody who's hate watching this video, then just know that it's not rage bait, it's not lying, it's not misinformation. This isn't coming from somebody who doesn't read comic books. This is just the truth.
You are ignoring the entire reasoning behind why Peter is being cucked in the first place. So it kind of seems like you don't read the comics, or you're just ignoring that and being dishonest, which again is probably worse.
That Spider-Man Brand New Day isn't comic accurate, it's not a good Spider-Man movie, and it does so many things that go against the entire
Right, nothing in the MCU has been, not nothing, but a lot of the stuff in the MCU has not been comic accurate. I don't know why you would expect it to be. The entire Peter's origin is still undefined. It hasn't been fleshed out in any way, shape, or form, and like none of it has been comic accurate. Like Uncle Ben died a long time before we ever saw Peter, and they were getting over it. I think they had just moved into the apartment at that point, and and then she's the one that gave the responsibility speech. So there's no Osborn, there's no Harry Osborn. Like Ned Leeds is his friend, which is that's mostly not a thing in the comics. Like Ned Leeds is a hobgoblin. And the character of Ned Leeds is maybe during Dan Slott's or Brian Michael Bendis or something like that. But I don't recall seeing Ned Leeds as anyone other than the Hobgoblin. And he wasn't even the first Hobgoblin. I'm pretty sure he was the second one. Or I might be switching them. But Kingsley, I think, was the Roderick Kingsley. He might have been the second one. Someone found one of Osborn's old Green Goblin outfits and altered it to be his own thing. But I don't remember if that was Roderick or if it was Ned Leeds. Either way.
Marvel Universe, Spider-Man as a character, and superheroes in general, so it can't be accepted than anything else other than just plain garbage. Any real fan of Spider-Man would reject this bullshit on the spot. Stop trying to nostalgia bait people and pull them in because you recreated Spider-Man's first cover. How about you actually adapt Amazing Fantasy number 15, and then you'd have a good movie. You
haven't even seen the movie yet. It's not even out. I imagine that it's probably not going to be the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. I imagine it's probably still going to be pretty good, though. I think most people understand that it's probably going to be pretty good.
Movie on your hands and not whatever the fuck spider cock is meant to be here. So this isn't going to be some 20-minute video because we already know the deal with this movie. It looks like the biggest piece of shit known to man, made by Grok in an afternoon. But as
He uses a lot of hyperbole. A lot of hyperbole. And that's, you know, it's kind of a point in the grift column because it really is only something that the grifters do. You know, like they're always saying woke, cuck, like always, just always using the buzzwords because they can't think of anything else to say. There's no other literary reference that they can make. There's no other point that they can make. It's all just the same talking points rattled off one by one. But look at the, like, he looks, this is just him in general, I bet, you know? Like, he's dead behind the eyes. Like I said, ginger, soulless.
you expect, it has all of the NPCs who don't read comic books and have definitely never read these Spider-Man comic books and are just...
Yes, nobody's ever read a comic book but you. And sure, maybe no one's ever gonna think, oh, hey, maybe I should check that issue out. Since I'm seeing the cover on the screen. Oh, that's an Easter egg? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll check that comic out. Perhaps, maybe word of mouth won't reach people. Maybe word of mouth won't cause new audiences to become introduced to you, as you claim, one of your favorite heroes. What could be, you know, why would anyone think that? Nah. It would never happen. It would never happen. No one ever learns about comics through word of mouth. Nah. That's not how new generations find out about it. Nah. It's ingrained in their psyche from the day they're born.
Eating this up because it's a brand new Marvel product that they need to love, and it can't be anything other than a 10 out of 10. Before I continue, that's a...
Well, no, the issue here is that for you, none of them can be good. That's the issue. Most people look at a Marvel movie, and if they didn't like it, they just go, oh, okay. It's like, oh, did you like that one Marvel movie? Nah, it sucked. Wasn't super into it. Oh. Like, was there anything in particular that you did like about it? Nah, it was just all kind of bad. That's it, you know? I don't know. Okay, nothing else? No. Just sucked. And that's it. And then you move on with your life. But again, art is interpretive, and you're presenting yourself as an authority on something, and then saying many times in more than a few videos how much of an expert you are and how little of an expert anyone else is. That to me feels like insecurity. It's insecurity.
Little message for the type of people who love this stuff and attack people who have any different opinion. You know you...
No, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Right now, that's what you're doing.
You can just turn around and say, Spider-Man Brand New Day doesn't look nearly as good as any other Spider-Man movie ever made. And
I mean, the visuals keep getting better because technology keeps moving forward, and they keep putting more and more money into it because they're getting bigger and bigger returns. Literally anybody can come to that conclusion. They look better. There's more fidelity. Yes, it looks washed out, but it becomes more like real life. It's supposed to be more photorealistic, more indicative of real life, more indicative of the real life environments, and real life is ugly. Real life is gritty. Real life is dark and washed out sometimes, especially during the rainy conditions that this movie appears to be set during. Like, come on, man.
kind of looks mediocre. You don't have to say that you hate it. You don't have to say that it looks garbage or political. You could just say that it's not really that great. Because being objective...
No, but he just said that it is the worst piece of shit ever. He just said that. He used those exact words. Goddamn, dude.
That's what this movie is. No matter what way you look at it, it's a complete failure in...
It's not even out yet, my dude.
Writing and as a Spider-Man movie. The only good Spider-Man movie...
How do you know that it's a failure in writing? You don't know anything in the script. insane
movies ever made that were comic accurate,
totally
and
not a grift,
objectively
right?
the best were Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. It wasn't the Christopher Nolan Amazing Spider-Man 1, and it wasn't the cringe race swap rom-com music video that was the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And
what? Both of the Amazing Spider-Man movies were pretty good. I don't think that anyone really appreciates them for what they were, but I think they were really good. I like Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 1 and 2. Spider-Man 3 was definitely not comic accurate in any way, shape, or form. Spider-Man 2, what was that one? Who was in that one? Oh, that was Doc Ock. That's not in any way accurate either. Maybe one of the more modern ones, but Doc Ock was never like, he never really started out as a good guy. And then was like driven crazy by his arms. That's not a plot point in the comics. At least not the comics I've read. Yeah, it seems weird. Seems like a weird, I don't know.
by God, was it not Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse? Because those aren't Spider-Man movies. Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Well, no. There's actually quite a few storylines that solidify Miles as Spider-Man. Quite a few of them. Not the least of all, any of the Spider-Man arcs. He is referred to as Spider-Man. He's not referred to as Miles. They call him Miles because that's his fucking name, but he's not referred to as Miles when they're saying the hero name stuff. It's always Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. You're Spider-Man. Yes, I'm Spider-Man. Okay. You can't just gatekeep Spider-Man. You're not a writer or editor, nor do you really seem to even know anything about the comics.
Miles Morales is a kid from the hood, which in every...
Because he's racist. Because he just doesn't like black people. Just pure unadulterated racism right here.
Every iteration never fails to be political, obnoxious, and retarded. But anyway...
So we're 3 minutes into this 13-minute production. And he has used the R slur twice. He said cuck at least a couple times. And he has said that the reason why... Now, I'm pretty sure that Peter's from the hood too, but let's, I guess, ignore that. He says that we get to gatekeep Spider-Man now against Miles Morales because he's from the hood. Let's play that back. Johnny, play that back.
Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Miles Morales is a kid from the hood.
Isn't Peter Parker from Queens? Is Queens not one of the many hoods? I've not lived in New York, so I don't know the districts like the back of my hand. But is there not hood in that area? So Miles, I guess, is just a kid from the hood? Brooklyn. Simply because what? It's like a historically black neighborhood? Like what is he basing this discrepancy off of? Right? He just doesn't like black people. That's all it is. He just doesn't like black people. I wish he would just say that he just doesn't like black people. He's like, oh, I don't consider Miles a actual Spider-Man because I don't like black people. But he really could just be honest. It would remove him from this platform, but he should just be honest. Just be honest with yourself, man. You're going to be a lot happier. You're going to actually show some emotion on your face at some point. He totally teases out his hair. What do you want to bet this takes him like an hour to do every morning? For these bangs? Bitch, your hair is fried.
Which in every iteration never fails to be political, obnoxious, and retarded. But
I mean, it's almost like there's a historically oppressive campaign against entire groups of people that keeps them in the cultural zeitgeist and embattled in generations-long civil rights issues. It's almost like that is happening. It's almost like that. It's almost kind of like that. It's almost exactly that.
anyways, moving back to Spider-Man Brand New Day. I can't believe it. They recreated the first Spider-Man cover.
Like, just look at the lack of emotion on his face. And what is that? Is that supposed to be sideburns?
How about you actually read that comic and then you'll realize why the movie looks garbage. Read any issue from...
Why would you read that comic and then... What? And then see why the movie looks garbage? What?
The Steve Ditko Spider-Man run, and it'll debunk any leftist on Twitter and every single Spider-Man movie that followed, except the Sam Raimi ones, which took inspiration from the original and best Steve Ditko Spider-Man comics. That's one thing I'll say. I'm not a Spider-Man expert. I haven't read every single era and every single comic, but I have read the Steve Ditko stuff, which I love. Any person that knows anything about comics knows that the Steve Ditko run is the only one really worth a shit. Even the...
No. What? I'm pretty sure that there are many story arcs that people respect for Spider-Man. It's insane to say that only the Ditko run is worth reading? That's crazy.
Annoying Marxist himself, Alan Moore, thought the exact same thing. And sorry to break it to you, Steve Ditko created Spider-Man, and by no means was he a leftist or a Marxist or Jewish, which kind of...
Wow, dude. Wow. Just throw in Jewish in there. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why hasn't... I've personally reported this channel. If you ever see this kind of vitriol in your community, I would highly suggest that you report it. I don't know why this hasn't been taken down yet. Not this video, but his fucking account. It's insane. All of his videos are like this.
Sounds weird, but trust me, there's a lot of people out there that believe that Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is a Jewish communist, which there's just so many contradictions.
Why? What? Who is saying that Peter Parker is a Jewish communist? What are the labels that you're even trying to say? That he... What? That he's prescient, emotionally intelligent, empathetic? I don't understand what the point is that you're trying to make.
Like, didn't Aunt May and Uncle Ben get buried in a graveyard, and didn't Spider-Man ask for consent before kissing Mary Jane? Just small stuff like that.
What? The fuck? Something about Jewish customs, I guess?
Like, Spider-Man crawls on walls and buildings. He doesn't really crawl in sewers, so he can't really be Jewish, right? But I'll move on from...
What the fuck? What the fuck? YouTube! What are you doing? And he's saying that this is not rage bait. I am just flabbergasted, I guess.
That very quickly. All you need to know is that Spider-Man Peter Parker can't be Jewish, because when he's swinging around saving the day, helping some children out, he actually returns them home. He does...
Oh, fuck, man. God damn. I didn't think that he was like that openly anti-Semitic. Holy fuck, dude. That is insane. I would have gotten banned by now if I would have said anything like this.
Doesn't bring them to an island and... So yeah, my point on Amazing Fantasy is...
Calling all Jewish people pedophile rapists. That is fucking insane that he's still on
yeah,
here.
Nobody's read it.
Holy
so why
fuck.
are you celebrating this? These two comics right here were also read.
And yet you don't know that. You don't know that about any of the people you're talking about. Funny how easy it is for you to generalize entire groups of people. It's weird, isn't it?
And look 10 times better on the comic cover
My
than
God.
they do in the CGI slop that is this trailer. And I'll be upfront, I haven't read these two comics. I'm really not a fan of Todd McFarlane's...
What, you just said you haven't read them! What? You said maybe try reading these comics before you comment on them. You were just admitting you didn't read them. Why do you look like fucking Ellie from The Last of Us?
Man, I tried reading it. It's really just not good, like anything made by Todd McFarlane. And I don't really know anything
I won't disagree with you there. The one thing that we will agree with each other on is that Todd McFarlane fucking sucks.
about the other one, but I'm not really shocked that you managed to create just a pose of Spider-Man crawling on a wall. Well done. You could have done that for like 40 fucking years. But we're...
The entire catalog of Spider-Man movies has emulated different comic book covers at many different times in each production. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
supposed to
They did do this many times.
celebrate it now when you include one slow motion shot.
No, nobody's celebrating anything? What, you read one article and you got this incensed that you needed to make a video talking about how Spider-Man is a cuck using R slurs and just talking shit about Jews? God damn.
How about you adapt an actual storyline from a Spider-Man comic and don't just make little...
Nearly every Spider-Man movie, okay, maybe every Spider-Man movie, has included at least one small bit of one small storyline from the comics. So to say that they don't take story elements from the comics is a weird take. But even Homecoming had a decent amount of, I would say, more modern Spider-Man moments. Like, he just put a frame of one on there. That was even during the Ditko run, I believe. Same thing with him having fucking web wings. So, again, just a baseless gripe, seemingly, for no reason.
references and slow motion shots that nobody even knows what they're from.
Well, there's this article that clearly said that you don't like, that clearly talks about how cool it is that they're hearkening back to old shit like this. Like, why would you think that it's not, like, that it's a new thing? Like, that we're supposed to celebrate it somehow? That's insane. Blah, blah, blah. So tired of hearing American supposed leftists hop on the Zionist defense train. In fact, there's a Jewish ethno-state currently committing genocide and trying to conquer the entire Middle East. I mean, yeah, that would be the Israeli government. That's not all Jewish people everywhere. The Jewish diaspora, you don't know that. Largely complicit. You're talking about millions of people. You can't speak for all of them. Nor can you accuse them of any one thing. People are different. There's a bunch of different groups of different people, and all of them have different views. You're just anti-Semitic. Probably racist. I'm not just going to assume that you're racist. You are saying some pretty anti-Semitic stuff, so... Is there anything you'd like to say before you get banned from my channel?
See here, Spider-Man learning to use his powers again because now he has organic webs. For some weird reason, it makes zero sense, and it's a complete de-evolution of his character arc. And I don't even know why I'm using the phrase character arc, because Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't have one. He started off as a kid trying to learn how to use his powers, and eventually he got the hang of it. Oh wait, he didn't. He's still falling around on the ground like a spastic and running around after surveys. Black MJ.
So comprehensive. Such a comprehensive amount of research that you've done in order to be able to justify being anti-Semitic. I'm so glad that we have such well-researched viewers on the channel. Have you tried going and fucking yourself? Apparently that gets more viewers if I tell people to go fuck themselves, and who better than a Nazi? Why don't you go fuck yourself? Have you tried fucking yourself? I hear it does wonders for people like you.
I'm MJ.
You could go fuck yourself, or you could try shutting the fuck up. One of the two is usually the best way to handle that. If you haven't tried to go fuck yourself, but you're open to shutting the fuck up, then do that. You'd be a lot happier.
See, with classic 80s badass comic characters like Spider-Man and Daredevil, when they couldn't get with their main...
Just because he doesn't like people with melanin in their skin. I don't... like, how has YouTube not understood what is happening here?
chick, they usually had somebody else like Black Widow, Elektra, Black Cat. Except Tom Holland doesn't have any of that. So basically, he's a cock. Just like in the modern...
You don't have to substitute a love interest with somebody just so that Pete has a love interest. That is insane. That's an insane view. Somebody just to be on his arm? Like, he doesn't need a girlfriend. That is insane. Everyone's got to be paired up. We got to make sure that people are having babies. Fuck,
garbage
man.
Spider-Man comics, Peter Parker has to sit there and watch MJ go out with
Right. So you said that you don't like that these productions are not, like, you don't like how they're not taking elements from the comics. You say you want something more comic accurate, but that's fucking comic accurate if he plays that one dude that was essentially cucking Spider-Man. I mean, it turns out that, you know, it wasn't a big issue in the whole in the long run. But come on. You just said it.
Superhero movies and superheroes in general try to relate to their audience, and now this kind of makes sense.
Did you just say something about black dudes? What the fuck?
General try to relate to their audience. Black dudes. Peter Parker has to sit there and watch MJ go out with black dudes. Superhero movies and superheroes.
Is he black?
He's a cock. Just like in the...
Oh, maybe he thinks that...
couldn't get with their main chick. They usually had somebody else like Black Widow, Elektra, Black Cat. Except Tom...
Maybe he thinks that guy's a black guy? Who does he think is black here?
Tom Holland doesn't have any of that. So basically, he's a cock. Just like in the modern garbage Spider-Man comics, Peter Parker has to sit there and watch MJ go out with black dudes.
I don't want to be inaccurate. Is he black? But he didn't watch him. We didn't watch MJ go out with black dudes. She was in a relationship. I think it was maybe toxic, maybe abusive. I don't remember. There was some element of it that wasn't right. But she was in a relationship with this guy.
Superhero movies and
I don't think he's black.
Superheroes in general try to relate to their audience, and now this kind of...
This is just that meme. This is just that incel meme. Where it's like the Stacy goes off with the guy who has a black face and he's like all built and shit. Like, oh, and he's the Chad. Like, but then you've got the other guy, like, who's the incel. Who's like on the other side of, like, it's looking lonely and shit. Like, it makes my head hurt, man. People like this are just potentially misguided.
Makes sense, because back with Tobey Maguire, he might miss a date with MJ and it might mess up his relationship, and the people watching could relate to that because they actually had relationships in real life. Now Spider-Man is a cock to black...
What? So something in a Spider-Man movie happens, people can relate to that because that thing happens in real life for them. What the fuck point is that? And then you just go back to, now Spider-Man is a cuck.
MJ and her black boyfriend.
To black MJ and her black boyfriend. I believe Zendaya is only half black. And her black boyfriend, he looks like he's an Indian man. I don't know if people consider that black. Why get things so horribly wrong and be so assured that you're completely right?
Friend, and I think everybody in the audience of Spider-Man Brand New Day enjoying it can relate to that, because you
oh my god. And then you're calling the fans incels. Or cucks, I guess. Oh my god. There's no way this isn't just rage bait. There's no way. That's just not possible. That's just not possible. This is absolutely rage bait. This is just 100% rage bait.
seriously have to be a pathetic piece of shit to actually get excited for something like Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I'm not...
People can't be excited about things? Even if it's not something you like? Okay, act like that if you wanna. It's not gonna make you very popular.
not dictating what people can like.
You are. You are. You're straight up doing that. That's what's happening here. Very clearly.
I'm just saying, if you're a Spider-Man fan, and if you call yourself that, then you can't really like this movie. It's not...
You only like one Spider-Man run from one writer. I would say that probably makes you not a particular Spider-Man fan. You gatekeep against Miles Morales just because he's black. I don't think we can call you a Spider-Man fan. I don't think anyone would mistake you for a fan of Spider-Man. You didn't even read the runs that you're telling other people to read in order to understand the comic book covers that they're seeing, which is supposed to be an Easter egg that's a fun callback that will introduce people to these comics. How are you getting this so backward?
Me telling you can't like it. It's basically...
Yes, it is. Yes, you are.
Basically just the years of comics with Spider-Man telling you it, that objectively, this isn't a Spider-Man movie. And this tweet here is saying that...
I feel that way, but for different reasons. I think that it's a superhero movie. I don't think that it's necessarily a Spider-Man movie. It's going to have other people in it. It's not centered around Spider-Man being a hero. It's centered around him reacting to things that are happening around him, which is fine. I think for what it is, it'll be a good movie. But I'm not excited about it. Like, I'm not going like, oh, I'm going to get my tickets. Like, I'm going to see the late show at like 7 o'clock the night before. It's going to be crazy, man. We're going to do like an all. I'm going to dress up like Spider-Man. It's going to be, ooh.
Spider-Man.
That's a very small minority of fans who are going to do that. But it's great. I applaud that shit. That kind of dedication. Fuck yeah. If you can do cosplay, do it. I'm into it.
And Fighting the Hand is from some random comic that nobody read. And I can tell you right now...
I'm pretty sure that Beast Daredevil was around. Was that Brian Michael Bendis? I'm pretty sure who is an executive producer on Daredevil Born Again right now. So because we are gonna go through it. I'm hoping to do it within the next couple of minutes here, but we're gonna go through the Daredevil season 2 episode 1 premiere.
Now what Spider-Man...
You just gotta save the best for last.
Fighting the Hand is. It's a middle finger in the face of every single Daredevil and Wolverine fan out there. Because anybody that knows anything about Marvel Comics knows that the Hand is the enemy of Daredevil, Wolverine. Sure, the Hand can fight other characters, but it's mainly Daredevil and Wolverine.
And nothing in the Spider-Man movies has shown, in the MCU anyway, has shown that it's going to adhere 100% to the comics. What are you expecting? He fights the Hand because the Hand keeps coming to New York for some reason. Daredevil's fighting some incarnation of the Hand at any given time in the TV series. There's no reason to believe that he might not encounter them again, or be directly involved in whatever's happening that leads into Brand New Day. It's almost like they got cross-marketing going on. It's so weird, right? It's like it's connected universe. It's so weird.
That's when they were best shown. In two of the best comics ever made, which before you comment any hate comment, make sure you've actually read them. Frank Miller's Daredevil and Frank Miller's Wolverine.
I haven't read this is him. I haven't read a bunch of the comics that I'm telling people to read, but you need to read them before you leave a comment.
Shot of Spider-Man fighting the
Jesus
hand
Christ,
is
dude.
taken exactly from Frank Miller's Wolverine issue 2 from 1982, where it was done way better and one of the best superhero stories ever told. And the same goes for Daredevil. The original Frank Miller Daredevil comic beats every single live-action superhero movie ever made.
Okay. I hope you're getting to a point.
That's what being a fan of the comics is. It's turning around and saying that this excellent comic beats any garbage CGI slap movie. And if you
Well, no. The reason why we don't adapt every comic into a movie is because that's impossible. We can get pretty close, but technology has not gotten to the point where we can reliably do a lot of this stuff without making it very, very expensive. And above everything, you've got studio execs and shareholders to make happy at the end of the day. So that's the reason why you don't see a lot of comic book runs become movies. It's insane. That's a crazy take.
want an example
The
of
comics,
people who
you know, the book was so much better. I used to have that discussion when I was in elementary school. And the reason why it's stupid is because you grow up and you understand the capabilities of like people in Hollywood who can do these productions. Like you understand that it's not all encompassing and shit costs money. Like the resources need to be available and they just aren't yet. And the directors have to want to make something like that. And the studios have to want to pay for something like that. Like you're just not understanding that there's a whole fucking process to this shit. And just levying an opinion against black people and Jews. Yeesh.
lose their mind over the brand new references to the comics which they haven't read. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They even got the attention to detail.
But you
from
yourself
the comics. This
said
movie
they
is gonna
didn't
be-
read this. Or that you yourself said that you didn't read this. The very thing that you're accusing people of being like, oh, well, why are you getting excited? You didn't even read that comic. Neither did you. Why do you think you can gatekeep?
godlike because they recreated something which is easy to recreate.
No, I don't think that's how that train of thought went. It's, oh, cool, they're doing a comic book cover as part of this movie. You know, that's a cool element of the movie. And then that's it. And then they just go on with their day. I don't think there's much more to that, to be honest. For most people,
As I said, how about you actually adapt a good Spider-Man story instead of making something up that makes no sense? Like
there have been no good Spider-Man stories? Anywhere in the movies? I'm gonna call bullshit on that one.
Spider-Man learning to use his powers after 4 movies of this crap. This exact same guy that was losing his mind saying that it's comic accurate is trying to criticize Sam Raimi's Spider-Man fans because Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker sounds like a guy from the 1950s. Yeah, sorry to break it to you, but that's what Spider-Man and Peter Parker always was. And you're outing yourself as a tourist, a LARPer, and a...
You only like one run. You only like one author's run on Spider-Man. I would say that makes you less of a fan than someone who likes all of the catalog. But maybe I'm weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way.
Fake fan. Spider-Man is always meant to sound like he's from the 1950s, and anything else is a subversion and isn't Spider-Man. And speaking of...
Because language doesn't evolve over time and people don't grow? That's weird.
Of subversions, I just have to get back to this guy again. He just makes everybody else just look like a complete idiot. Saying shit like anime is right-wing and Christian, and so is Spider-Man apparently. You're leaving yourself open to these people, and it's just gonna keep on happening when you don't know anything about the topic you're talking about. But saying that, I don't know which is worse. The guy saying that Spider-Man is a right-wing Christian, or the complete
he's a
mental
Jew.
retards that think that Spider-Man is a Yiddish Jewish communist. And he's also...
Where are you getting that vitriol? Like what the fuck are you talking about right now? Isn't Peter Parker Jewish? I don't think he's Jewish. Yeah, no, he's not canonically Jewish. I mean, he likes Jewish deli food. I know that just from both the comics and the movies.
Gay somehow.
But then again, so do I.
I don't really know how that works, but you should really take all of this gay shit back to whatever synagogue you come from. Once again,
All Jewish people are gay? How do they have babies?
he's a Jewish leftist. Evidence? I need one piece of evidence, or are you just projecting? Very similar.
Well, we don't know if he's Jewish. He's Jewish coded because he likes, you know, Jewish things. He appreciates the Jewish culture. Like, it's not, he's not, but he's just a respect. I don't know. I see that as just being respectful. I don't know if I would assign him anything. But yeah, I mean, so what? If just because you're saying something, asserting something, it could have just been trolling, right? I'm yawning.
To gay people, certain people of certain ethnicities try to come in and say that Batman and Spider-Man are both Jewish. They're categorically and objectively not. This is just a fact that anybody that reads comic books knows. Peter Parker is just a nerd from New York City. He's not Trotsky, okay? And now we get...
So anyone who's Jewish is a far left communist terrorist?
To one of the worst elements about this entire piece of shit is the fact that they're taking from Japan, a much better country for superhero media. I've never really claimed to be a Spider-Man fan. I've always been more of a Devilman guy than a Spider-Man guy, because I'm not really a fan of Spider-Man.
Two completely different properties. You can like both of them as well, if you'd like. You know, you're allowed to like two things.
Man's morals and just his character over the years. So Japanese heroes like Devilman, Kamen Rider, and all of the other ones, compared to the American counterpart, is really different, and they should
almost like they're different cultures entirely.
Never ever coincide. But as we've seen with recent comics copying manga, it seems the movies are doing the exact same thing, where the iconic rider kick is just...
It's just a flying kick, dude. It's been a thing in martial arts for at least a couple hundred years. It's insane that you would say they're taking that from Kamen Rider.
Blatantly ripped off in this garbage scene, which is once again a disgrace to Spider-Man and Kamen Rider.
I mean, one person on Twitter pointed it out, and that makes it that? Somehow?
So it's bullshit to even reference it. Oh yeah, and another thing about this scene is Frank Castle there, the Punisher. Holy shit, what the fuck is that Jufro up on top of...
What? I don't think John Bernthal is Jewish. Oh, no, he is Jewish. He is Jewish. So he's an Ashkenazi Jew from down the main line. So I guess that's why the Jufro
of your head. Since when has the Punisher had an afro? Since when is the Punisher...
Why would you call that an afro? That's not even in the same ballpark as an afro. That's insane. That's just a blowout. That's what Pauly D has. The cast of Jersey Shore. Like Frank's hairstyle. Not anyone with a fro.
Some Jewish guy who says, "Let me tell you something," over and over. Can somebody show me the comic page of the Punisher?
Does he say, "Let me tell you something" a lot in general? Is that what he has a problem with?
Punisher looking like this.
Other
Because
than
John
Jewish
Bernthal has
people.
never been a good Punisher. He wasn't good in Daredevil. He definitely wasn't good in his own show, which wasn't even about him. It was instead about some random Muslim. And by the looks of...
Fucking Christ. Oh, dear Lord. the agent, the whole series was about the Punisher. And the agent who was in the FBI, who was like corrupted over time, like, yeah, I mean, so like that, he was a part of the story. What? And I even think that that was in Daredevil season 3, not, or 4? How many seasons are there? I don't, that's insane.
This slop scene, which is just CGI ripping off Kamen Rider with fake Punisher and fake...
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say that a lot of that looked practical.
Spider cock.
That Punisher rolling.
Ripping off Kamen...
This was part of the, like when he fell or something, like he sprained his ankle or something like that. Like this was that. It's a practical effect.
Rider with...
And maybe this part is CG.
Punisher and...
Like, but what do you fucking expect? You want this to be real?
Fake...
It looks fine.
Spider cock. I don't know how any Spider-Man fan, any comic book fan, any fan of Kamen Rider could turn around and say that this looks good. That's the thing about shows like Super Sentai and Kamen Rider.
But I think if you get this deep into the minutia, like you're way off base and you need to go outside and do something else with your life for a little bit. Like that's just, you're way too fixated. You could just say, you know, does it look good? If so, then sure, I'll go see it. If not, then I'll skip this one. That's really all the consideration it takes when you see a trailer. Instead of like, oh, I can't believe there are black people in it. They probably like Jews. Like, that is insane. That is a person who has become unhinged in a way.
They never had CGI, and they could do twice as more as any of these movies ever.
And you think they wouldn't have used it if they did? Technology was different, my dude.
Did. But I could go on for hours here talking about this movie, but I don't really want to. I'm really sick of Marvel slop that has no respect for comic books or the characters within them.
No respect for comic books, even though it depicts quite a few of the most famous comic book covers for a reason.
People who love this type of garbage think that Spider-Man is gay and Jewish.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Yeah, there's a small part of the community that believes that Spider-Man is Jewish, but I don't know where you get gay from. He was close with Boomerang, but he wasn't that close.
I need to even say anything more. So the verdict on Spider-Man Brand New Day is that it's CGI garbage slop, which has Spider-Man being cocked and not acting anything like Spider-Man. I think I covered it all there nicely. Oh wait, I forgot. Peter Parker is somehow a gay Jew. If you have any common sense and know that this is pure slop, and you've read the actual comic books of Spider-Man, do let me know and maybe consider subscribing. And if you're one of these woke brain dead fucking retards off of Twitter who thinks that Peter Parker and Spider-Man is a gay Jewish communist, then go complain to your boyfriend.
Yeah, so that's this guy. Fuck, man. How do you become this way? Gross. Gross, dude. Like, people are making, like, Epstein jokes about it. Ah, fuck, man. Someone obviously hasn't even seen the MCU stuff. And not made by the Illuminati. Jesus Christ, dude. His comments are insane too. Fuck. So crazy. So crazy. Well, that's this channel. Goddamn, we could do a whole week on this dude. Fucking the hammer and sickle, go fuck yourself. He punches Nazis. Oy, oy, oy. All right. So let's play the trailer while I am talking about episode. I think is a good idea. Let's hope they don't copyright strike me during the stream. You bastards. Where was it? All right. So let me pull it up just so I can reference it. By the way, if you're just joining, what's up? I returned from my chicken and rice lunch. Ooh, chicken and rice. Sounds boring, but probably pretty good. Okay. Which one was the most recent one? I don't want to no TV spot or whatever. Yeah, it should be this one. Zoop. Oh yeah, basmati rice is good. I like a good jasmine. I like a good jasmine. Okay. All right. So the Northern Star. Now, in other Marvel properties, I believe we've seen the. I'm just showing what's up. Hey, helmet. And the flavor of garlic parmesan. Don't ever. You're about to get banned. I believe the Northern Star was so in the first in the opening scene of Daredevil season 2 episode 1, Daredevil Born Again. You see the Northern Star, which I want to check that out. The Lemurian Star was in something. Yeah, I guess maybe we haven't seen it before. It just reminds me of a ship that we've seen. Like it feels like the one that was in what was it? It was in Winter Soldier. Like I think that was like the Lemurian Star or something. Anywho, you know, people hide stuff in the names of things all the time, but I could be mistaken. I don't think that it is a one. I know you're kidding, but you know, in this particular iteration of the series, I didn't not enjoy his suit. I don't remember ever seeing that in the first season, or I guess season 1A, I guess as we're calling that. I don't remember seeing that in his costume, like the fact that the costume had like the black colors and was like the DD and whatnot. But I also could be mistaken on that. It's been a while since I've seen it. Maybe I should rewatch that and you know, check it out and see. But he makes a lot more use of his his sticks. I forget what they're called, collie sticks. But they don't. So they extend and they can like whip people in the face. Like you can use it as a projectile weapon, but it's also like what? Sorry, I want to keep playing this. I'm gonna we don't want to do autoplay. But in other like in the season 1, episode 1, we saw him using it to like swing around, and I don't think we've seen that really since, because it's probably expensive to do. But that's like one of his big things, was that he could basically swing around like just like Spider-Man could, but he just used his sticks to do it. So they scuttle the ship. Also, by the way, spoilers for season 2, episode 1. If you don't want to hear any spoilers. Turn back. But like, I kind of feel like this all is sort of the Disney version of the Netflix Daredevil show. Like, it's supposed to be a direct sequel to that show, but I don't know. I think that we could have done with a little bit of like backstory of what happened like during the snap, or like, you know, instead of just him floating around and doing nothing for like 5 years, it would have been cool to just, you know, explain all that. I had like my idea for a fan season of this was that like him and Fisk are essentially fighting in like in you know, in season 3 fashion, and they end up becoming discombobulated, and they, you know, the snap happens, and, you know, because Matt is like, he's got this echolocation sort of thing, world on fire, right? He gets incapacitated because of like the sound of like all this stuff happening, just all the universal shit. And like Wilson abducts him and keeps him captive and basically brainwashes him and turns him into his lawyer. Not brainwashes him, but like breaks him mentally. And in my fan series, it takes the combined efforts of all of his friends to bring him back. There's a whole thing. He gets a sidekick. Yeah, there's a whole thing. If you would like for me to read that on stream someday, I just might. But so he's on this ship, and he finds this stockpile of weapons. We don't know who the weapons were intended for or were destined for yet. This is all just, we're still world building. It seems like season 1 was world building, and we're still world building into season 2, but it's framed as like this espionage type mystery that's going to unravel as the viewer gets to see it, which is fine. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But so the two guys, like they have this in the Netflix series, they had this sort of habit of highlighting smaller characters, like background characters, as how these events evolve. Like it sort of revolves around a central sort of background character, I guess. It was Grebo, whatever his name was, Freebo, in season 3 or season 2 of Daredevil, where he encounters the Punisher. And I think because that season was so popular and so well received, they kind of they've sort of hinged on that a little bit. But you never know. The part that I'm watching on the trailer here, that could be, so this is sort of in my fan series season or whatever. It was very much like that. Like he was getting all kinds of weird glitches in his superpower, and it was causing his senses to go crazy. So in this one, they focus on the ship captain and his first mate, and the suit in this incarnation of the series, not season 1, in this season 2 incarnation of it, it looks really good. It's like, that's pretty comic book accurate. I think that's going to be about as close as they can get without actually doing like a Brian Michael Bendis stylized thing. Like all of this is that Brian Michael Bendis is either now an executive producer or a consulting producer. And it shows in this first episode of the second season. I don't know if he was during the first season, but it really shows in this one here. Like the Hitchcock zoom that they do right after that is like it shows how he's like narrowing his hearing, how he can like zoom in on a sensation or a sound. It's pretty fucking cool, I must say. Yep, and then so we continue on. The intro's not as good as it was during the Netflix run of the show. The theme is one of the more iconic themes, and I remember each of the themes to each of the Defenders was almost equally as good. Like I really enjoyed all of the themes, and I really enjoyed the Defenders theme. It was just so good, so good. And so he can actually turn his head. You know, it's always a fun thing when a hero can like take off his cowl in real time and turn their head and all that kind of stuff. Very good. And I don't remember in the previous season how he ended up with Karen again, because I remember the psychologist lady left him because he was distant and unavailable, but also because she was going through some shit herself. Clearly. Lots of traumatic shit happened. Obviously, the Muse tried to, kidnap her or whatever. Not a good series of events, But apparently, so they're in hiding, I guess, and she's now training in martial arts, I guess. Again, there's a lot of context that hasn't been fleshed out here, and I don't think they're going to answer it anytime soon. I'm hoping that they do like maybe some full episode flashbacks, because it would be really nice to see how some of this all evolved into what it is. And I don't know how long after, because at the end of the last season, Fisk put New York under martial law, and so everyone's on lockdown. So I'm not sure. Like I guess there's a curfew or whatever, but I'm not sure how she's. How this is going to evolve, how it evolved in the meantime, but they're all smoochy and all flirty, and they're clearly both still in hiding. And then some bullshit, some espionage bullshit. It's really just, I think that we had a hiccup. There was a lot of society stuff going on while this series was going, and or while the production was going, and we ended up in a place where these guys are doing some social commentary, and the deputy mayor character is now sort of taking a bit of a JD Vance role, and I think BB is trying to kind of get him out of the game, and he's just staying in it, but that'll remain to be seen. I think, if you don't remember the last part of the first season, she was basically embedding herself in this world, this world of criminality, so that she can get closer to the truth. And so she's using him as a source, and that may backfire at some point, but right now she's actually producing like propaganda films for the administration that Fisk is in charge of. Oh yeah, what's his nuts is in it. Matthew Lillard, he's in it. He plays, I think, a CIA guy, like they call him CIA spooks, and it seems like he is definitely some kind of spy, secret agent, espionage type, but who is actually helping Fisk. It could be them who the the weapons were destined for. And I'm thinking it's either Hydra or the Hand, but I don't have enough proof to really go off of at this point. But they freely are cussing and a swearing in this series, which is always refreshing to be able to see. And the rhetoric that surrounds the BB Urich propaganda stuff is basically like how Trump supporters talk. It's like, oh, it was a criminal element and they were like, we're just happy that the streets are being cleaned up. That kind of stuff. Very like the pro-ICE sentiment of the right. Ba-ba-boo. I don't know why I keep saying I'm usually not, I usually don't feel like I have to have the space filled. Matthew Lillard comes in. I'm obviously not going to spoil a lot of these story beats. I want to let you watch the episode. But I'm just going to say what my comments are. Karen wears a really bad wig later on in the show. It is terrible. She looks like she's trying to be La Femme Nikita. And it's bad. It's bad. Maybe it's a nod to La Femme Nikita. I don't know. It's bad. It's not good. It's not good. I'll show it on screen as long as I'm not playing it. Won't get the copyright strike. But look at that. Oh my god. That is not a good wig. You see that? That is not a good wig. If you've ever worn a wig, you'd probably agree that that is not a good wig. So, like, she's picking up dead drops, and I love Deborah Ann Woll. If she were to come up to me and say, I want you to marry me, I would immediately sign divorce papers. I'm kidding. I love my wife. But I love Deborah Ann Woll. I think she is just an angel of a human being. And she does a lot of, like, work with charity, and she does a lot of nerd stuff. Like, she did, I think, live plays of some role-playing game. It was like Prisoners or like the Werewolf or whatever. It's, good stuff. It's good stuff. Good stuff. She's cool. But the wig sucked. That's a bad wig. And I don't particularly like how their dynamic is always like her trying to learn just the bare basics of something from somebody else. In the beginning, she was like trying to learn how to be a secretary, and then she was trying to learn law, and then now she's trying to learn martial arts. Like, just have her already established in something. Like, then she was like doing this spy shit too when she was working with Ben Urich. Like, stop doing the surface level stuff and just let her do. Just let her be a spy, or let her be a martial artist. Just let her develop her goddamn character. She's always trying to like pick up some new skill. And I think they try to frame that as her being industrious, but to me it just comes off as her like she's always shifting focus. She never really knows what she wants to do, like, and then she's a journalist. Like, she just gets a journalism job. Like, what? She was an assistant, a secretary at Allied Mutual when she found all the embezzling that was going on and the crime that was preceding it. And then she had to go into hiding. And so then she became the secretary for Nelson and Murdoch. And these are her jobs. These are all of her work history. And then she became one of the partners after she became a journalist, a full-fledged journalist. And now she's a secret agent and a martial artist. And one of the leaders of an underground movement. You're giving Karen too much. You're giving her too much to do. Bring back cloned Foggy. Oh, and they have the swordsman in it. I fucking love that character. On the show, the Hawkeye show, is so good. He's so good. And the guy that plays him is always, not always, but usually a villain. So it's really cool to see him being just like this, you know, this hero character who's just super suave and like doesn't give a shit. But there's definitely doing like an ICE parallel. They're abducting people off the street. They're saying there's no due process, all this kind of stuff. And it's clearly targeted. It's clearly supposed to emulate exactly what's going on with ICE. So, you know, political commentary, it's going to exist. And so the psychiatrist is at this point, she's like doing a analysis of him, and she writes down the words like hostile and so like doesn't respect, hates authority. And then she like, yeah, it's clear that she's been on the path to becoming a bad guy, and she might even become some iteration of Muse, because I don't think, holy shit, thank you whoever followed. I can't see the alert, but you scared the shit out of me, so I know somebody followed. I'm Smoke, what's up? Jesus Christ. But so it's clear that she's going down the route of becoming a bad guy. And if my recollection is correct, I could go back and check it and then update you guys tomorrow. But yeah, it scared the shit out of me. But I believe they gunned down Muse when he was in her office. Now, I don't know if he recovered, and my memory of him carrying a body is the more recent memory. But if my sequence of events in my mind is correct, Muse is dead. Muse has been gunned down. But, and if that's true, if I again, I'll correct myself. But if that's true, then it's possible that she may become the next Muse. You know, maybe it's a concept that goes on. Because in the comics, he was an Inhuman. He was just one of the random Inhumans that just was a bad guy, you know? They didn't really go over his origin too much, but that's what he was. And I forget what his power was. It was like, it was really subtle. It was like he could influence people's emotions or something like that. It wasn't like his powers didn't play into his crimes a whole heck of a lot. But so she sees him in a vision. That's why I think, like, as of last memory, he's dead. That's my guess. I maybe I'll have to go back and watch it again, but so she's seeing him, which means that he's manifesting somehow in her psyche. And because she's a psychiatrist, because she's undergoing all this stress, and because I see it affecting her in that along the course of the episode, even to the point where it actually actively starts corrupting her, I think that it's I don't think that it's a bad guess to say that she might be becoming perhaps a supervillain of her own. A strong breeze makes me bleed. I have some pretty thin skin, but it heals really quickly. And she even calls him delusional too. Like, that's messed up, man. And we go through some story beats. Not a whole lot of consequence happens. They introduced this cop character in the previous season, and I don't know what his analog is in comics, because I'm not very familiar with Daredevil comics. But his role seems to be like basically there to die. He's like the Ben Urich character, essentially. He's like an investigative guy. He was a former cop. But it seems like he's there to be the person who dies, who motivates the heroes to move on to better things. Because, again, big spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode, please turn it off now. But big spoilers ahead. And hi to you as well. I'm Smoke. What's up? He has a heart attack towards the end of the episode, and I don't think he's going to die necessarily now, but this could be the fake out that might desensitize us to the surprise of his death later on, which happens a lot. That is a trope. But it seems like that's kind of his role. Like that's sort of how they've set him up to be the character that he's a warm, crotchety old man with a heart of gold, and he's sympathetic and he's empathetic towards others. And so anyone with a pure heart has to die by the end of the production. That's just, we all know that that's how it rolls, or how hero stuff rolls. We just got to accept it. That's just how it is. And cop slaps a woman, which I didn't think that they would be comfortable depicting, but hey, it's a world, it's a dark, it's a gritty world. He's going to get his uppance at some point. And also the thing that I notice about this particular iteration of the series is that they try to show violence, but they sanitize it. So like in the beginning of the episode, which I'll put clips up during the edit of this, so sorry you're not seeing it in real time, but it is essentially like he's throwing someone into a crate, like he's breaking bones, he's like causing all this damage, but you don't see any of it. You see a blood splatter, you see maybe an arm in a sleeve going the wrong direction, but you don't. The thing that really, really impressed me about the Netflix series was that right out the gate, episode 1, they're willing to show somebody getting their leg broken and the bone pops out. That to me is an insane level of fidelity with the material that you're trying to emulate. I actually kind of like that grittiness level when Powell slapped the lady. It was disturbing. That's the thing. That's what was so good about it, is that it made me jump. It made me go like, holy oh God. Like that callousness, that's the parallel with just reality in general. Like there's a lot of men out there who are not afraid to slap a woman, especially in a position of authority. I'm feeling, my guess is that he's going to get absolutely shit-wrecked by this lovely individual. That's my guess, because if he puts a hurting down on a woman in the first episode of the second season, my guess is that he's going to get fucking wrecked by her. And I am so happy. I'm so stoked. Yeah, I think because it's there. That's Chekhov's revenge, Chekhov's feminist revenge plot. And so next in the episode, what happens is the broadcast comes up. I can show that on the screen just still. The broadcast comes up with like the Fisk face, and I think this is BB Urich. I think it's BB Urich because she says at the end of the episode, or at the end of the season, for the previous season, how she like publishes things under different names, and she's like very good at being like a double agent. I think this is her telling the true story in response to what you see in her other productions here in that, because it plays a little bit of it. See, like right there. So the BB report. It's my belief that she's like they're airing these and then she's cutting in on these broadcasts. That's absolutely supposed to be a parallel to Fuck Trump or Fuck ICE. But so it's clearly someone who's diminutive in size. It's not a full person, and younger people are not full people. Let that be a lesson to you. That's it gets the goose stamp of approval as a full canon saying. Yep, it's just the whole frame looks sort of feminine, looks like a feminine frame, looks like somebody younger in age. I think it's BB Urich. And I guess, if I'm just going to be freezing it on stills, we don't have to worry about the copyright demons. It really is more if I'm playing it and letting sound play that the YouTube cares about. But so in this scene, like she's trying to get him to come back over to the light side because I think they grew up together. They went to high school together or something like that. And he is now sort of the J.D. Vance analog character. And he's going to be the one that Fisk throws under the bus. He's expendable. He's just some kid. No one's ever going to miss him, right? Like miss him. Or he may feel betrayed by him because of whatever, involvement he has with BB. And that's just not going to turn out well. It feels like they went through a lot of different versions, because you remember how it was stuck in like development hell for the longest time. but it feels like they went through a bunch of different versions of this particular storyline and then had to like keep adding people to it, because in the other storyline that maybe might have been a little better, I don't know, it seemed like they were just kind of like killing characters off, you know? So it's like they had to sort of replace characters with characters, and then the characters that they killed off might have stayed around, like maybe what's his face, Bullseye was going to get killed off or something, and then they just felt like they needed stand-ins for those. But like it feels like there was a story that they didn't tell. I feel like there's remnants of whatever the first iterations of the script were going through that we then got elements of on screen, and maybe they might tell some of that stuff in flashbacks, but it really is just the Karen and Foggy stuff that applies to this currently that they would need to flesh out. So I don't think they'd be doing any of that. Like, I believe she's conflicted as well when she says that her insider, like, she wants him to stay there but change his motives and her... No, yeah, she's actively trying to get him to come with her, you know, like not sink too deep into this world. It's clear that she cares about him, but I think she knows that he likes her and that he would willingly use his position in the administration to try to get with her, and she's using that even though the extent of her care really only goes to friendship. So it's almost like there's a lot that's piled onto this situation that makes it more beneficial to her or more prudent for her to keep this charade up, which is, it feels kind of shitty, but like nobody's supposed to come out clean, right? Like nobody's supposed to come out clean in this. That was their whole speech at the end of the thing. It's like, we're going to do whatever we need to do to bring out the truth. See, Fisk is playing a 10-dimensional game, and if that comes crashing down, like, I don't want you to be part of it. She cares about him, but she can't return his affection the way that he wants. And so there's going to be that wedge there. And it's going to be up to the writers whether that, you know, turns him against her or not. He may have a last minute moment of self-reflection, or he may be the scapegoat that we tie our negative emotions onto, just like Fisk wants him to be. Who knows? Only time will tell. I guess leaks will tell, but only time will tell. To people that don't look at leaks. And I don't. I don't tend to. Sorry, I'm trying to find another still frame that I can put it on that won't encourage the copyright demons. This moment here is unnecessary. It was a little unnecessary. It was fine. I don't mind the byplay. Byplay is just the cat and mouse dialogue between either a protagonist and an antagonist, or in this case, an antagonist and a greater antagonist. I don't think it was necessary. You offended my wife. I don't criticizing the character, like bringing to the attention of the audience that this character has a quirk that makes him a unique character, only diminishes the impact of that quirk. And if it's something funny, like Matthew Lillard just not giving a shit where he's at or who he's talking to, that is a fun, playable thing, especially for a CIA agent. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, he could play that angle in any situation. But then, like, when you bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, that is a characteristic that he has. Isn't that weird? And then it's kind of like it brings you out of it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I don't especially subscribe to it anymore because of that. But I hope I'm not just blowing smoke here. I mean, even Matt is not clean himself, to be fair. That's what I got watching Daredevil since the OG. Yeah, he's not supposed to be clean. That's why he is such a devout Catholic, because he believes he has to atone for all of the things that he does as Daredevil. That's a big component of his character. Big component. So yeah, it was just unnecessary. It was unnecessary to establish Matthew Lillard's character as this bad guy. Like, we already I think we can figure that out from the first interaction. I didn't appreciate what you did in my office. I don't appreciate you grandstanding. I get it. I understand that. But leave that to the audience. leave the character analysis to the audience. Because his wife, Vanessa, even asks, is that an element of your tradecraft? Stop! We don't need the training wheels put on for this. There's no reason for that. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I know that some people aren't going to pick that up. They're going to be like, who the fuck is this guy just walking into his office? Who was this guy just drinking a scotch? Who was this guy just sitting at their dinner table? I get it. Test audiences probably didn't know. But some people are smarter than that. I think that scene wanted to build the rivalry between Vanessa and Fisk to put a spotlight on the war between the corrupt. Well, yeah, and they have been laying the tracks for a split like that. But I think that the event, the gala that they had, where they were dancing together, it brought them back together somehow. Like, it seemed like it brought them back together, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe she will end up turning on him or something. I think the first red flag is when she hid cheating on him, but then when he hid that he already knew she cheated on him and had the guy in custody. That's already sort of a Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like it's not gonna come back. Oh, you mean actual Valentina? You think that scene wanted to build the rivalry between Valentina and Fisk? So do you think Valentina is who sent Matthew Lillard? Matthew Lillard's character? I mean, she is in the government, so it would make sense. But I thought that she was DO. Is she not DODC? Or is she in like the government, like the DHS or whatever? Because I think Lillard is CIA. Or no, Langley. He's FBI. Right? Because he said he was out of Langley, which is, I think that's where all the FBI agents train. I'm glad I remembered that. I would not have remembered that normally. Where he said he was from, that's just a minute detail that I typically don't pick up. I'm glad I did. She meets with BB. It's this whole like espionage. Just put her in espionage gear or give her a martial arts like she's picking up really quick, like she's a prodigy or something. Like, give her something that she can fully commit to, instead of making her a secretary, a lawyer, a journalist, a spy, and an underground movement leader. You know, like, fuck, man. Skippy, I don't want to watch you play WoW. I don't want to watch anybody play WoW. If I was going to play WoW, I'd play it myself, and I don't. If you go back to the scene where the two guys came in to oversight Fisk operation, he received a call from Valentina saying that Mr. Charles can go anywhere. So it was Valentina? Hang on. I'm down to watch that. Hang on. I'm going to have to watch it off screen here. Did he say Valentina? Or like, did he say... Well, because I mean, obviously, we know that she's like pretty much anywhere. Yeah, no, I like that. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm happy that you saw it. Hang on, I'm still... Okay, now he's receiving the phone call. He says, I totally... Yes, Miss DeFontaine! Yes! He did say that! You helped me out. Fuck yeah. Thanks, Smoke. Miss DeFontaine. Holy shit. So yeah. That does make sense. I guess I'm not surprised. I don't remember what my point was, that I was making, but that's pretty cool. So this, I guess it doesn't fully negate what I said. I don't think they need to point out his mannerisms, was my whole point. Like, they don't need to remove that right from me. Don't take that from me. I want to flesh out his mannerisms. I want to see him acting chaotic, okay? I don't need you to just tell me that he's chaotic. Jesus. But thank you for pointing that out to me. That's awesome. I would not have noticed that. It would have taken me another watch through. Although I am going to be watching it again with my wife tonight, so... But I probably won't notice then either. But I'll be looking for it. And then... Dude, the fact that exists, I've been poor all my life, so I don't think that I have ever just thought about, oh, maybe I can hire some cleaners. I can't, you know, if I ever become rich, I think the first thing that I'll have is probably like someone to clean, because I do that right now, and that would be like the height of luxury for me. I don't think I've ever not cleaned. Ever. Like, I've never not been the one who cleans. I'm always the kind of person that cleans, you know? It's for $100, kind of expensive. This is $100? Oh, $500. Or what did Cash at me what? $500. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. But think about it in context. It's not bad. That's like that's like for the square feet that we're talking in an uptown like New York apartment. I don't know. And I think the building's owned, so like that's that I don't know. That doesn't seem like a whole lot for that particular demographic of people. Maybe it is. 500 is a lot of money to me. That's an entire bill. So but for that area, if you've got nothing else that you're paying for, and BB, how the fuck is she living in New York? You know, without being financially well off. I don't think it's a 5th floor walk up. I'm thinking her building has elevators. That's my guess. Espionage stuff. And so you kind of get this other exchange here where she's going through these like flashbacks and reliving the trauma from that Muse event. And she sees him again, which again tells me that if my memory is correct and he was gunned down in her office, then maybe she might be a new incarnation of Muse. But again, I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I don't remember if he died. I think we saw him later in the season, but I really don't remember. In the comics, he dies in a fire. So if we haven't seen that yet, I feel like maybe there's still a chance that could happen. And if she ends up becoming the new Muse, then that's probably where that's headed. You know, into the fire. But Muse had such a why are we playing this still? Muse had such a unceremonious end in the comics, and he wasn't really that fleshed out lore-wise, that it kind of makes sense for them to give them more to do with it, the story. I think he is like fully dead, and yeah, you're right, I believe another incarnation. She's turning into him. I think if we're to understand that he is supernatural in any way, shape, or form, then that's got to be sort of like his power, perhaps, you know, like he can transfer his essence into somebody else. And then maybe it's like going to turn out to be the Shadow King, or it's going to turn out to be mental manipulation, or it's just something, you know, like they could throw it away somehow. But the way that she's going right now, it makes me feel like she's definitely going to turn into the next Muse. And then they have more, you know, moments about how hopeless everything seems. And then sort of the big moment really only happens in the very final part of the episode. But again, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, this will spoil a pretty awesome revelation. Okay, so I'm giving you the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get the fuck out of here if you haven't seen the episode. Please go see the episode. It's good. It's a good episode, just overall. But go see the episode. If you have not seen the episode, you're about to get spoiled real bad. All right? So, the cop guy, the former cop guy or whatever, the guy who's doing all the behind the scenes work for Matt, he is in his apartment and he hears a knock on the door and he knows the drill. Like, he knows that they're coming to intimidate him. He doesn't quite know the extent of what's going to happen yet, but he knows they're there to intimidate him, to keep him from doing whatever it is he wanted to do. It doesn't go well for him in that he gets the shit slapped out of him. And Daredevil comes to the rescue right before the guy puts a bullet in his head. I'm not sure, but I obviously don't want to, get the copyright demons. But so he rescues him, and the guy starts while he's Daredevil's getting pummeled because he hears heart fibrillations. Is it infarction? He hears an infarction coming, and he hears the irregular heartbeat from this former cop guy who's like one of his closest friends who knows his secret, and he knows he's having a heart attack. And so he becomes distracted, and they start beating the ever-loving shit out of this guy. He like blood coming from his nose and mouth, like slamming his head into the ground, like really fucking Daredevil up. Fucking him up. And hang on, let's see, like, so he's down on the ground, and they start pulling off his mask. Like, shit's turned legit. Shit has turned legit risky, and then they actually pull off his mask. And oh man. Hang on, I want to there you go. Whoopsie. So now, one of many things need to happen at this moment, right? Either the guy needs to get over his heart attack real quick, get his strength back real quick, and then rush those cops real quick before they even see what's happening. His mask is fully off at this point. There's no chance that that's going to happen. Matt could potentially get a rush of strength and adrenaline and burst off of them, pulling his mask down before they ever get the chance to see. That's probably not going to happen. Maybe Frank will come by and pop them all, so they can't say what they saw, if they're dead. Frank, he goes, "See you later, Red." Or say, "Hey, hang on. See you later, Red." There you go. But that doesn't happen. What does happen? They reveal him. Is it maybe 10 seconds? Maybe not 10 seconds. They see that it's Matt Murdock. You saw that on the screen. And they get ready to plug him. Because, if you've got the Devil of Hell's Kitchen right there in your grasp, you're going to take that opportunity to end him. Like any good villain. Jesus. Did you see that? Bet you did. Who could that have been? A twofer? Who do we know that would get a collateral like that? Huh. And I don't hear a gun. Do you? Did you hear a gun? I didn't hear a gun. Now, it's a little out of focus here, but this is a pretty badass reveal. So, this knife goes... Oh, damn it. Hang on. So, this knife goes like... Where is it? Come on. Plinky Dink Dink. Who could that be? I'm sure anybody who's ever seen that insignia knows what that means. So, in the comics, only maybe once was Bullseye ever able to team up without trying to kill Daredevil and Elektra. I don't really remember this being in the comics. But Brian fucking Michael Bendis is at the very least a consulting producer. Like we can see right here. Hang on. And if you remember any of, like, I think the storyline with the Beast, wasn't that Brian Michael Bendis? Anyway, the Darklands, or the Dark, it wasn't Darklands. The Dark something. Darkness Falls, or whatever the point. Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil was arguably one of the best comic book runs ever. Well, maybe not. I in my opinion. It was very good. It was very good. And so having him as a consulting producer on, I don't know if it was the same last season, but at least this season of the show, it says that they're probably going to do DD right, and they're probably going to do JJ right too, because Brian Michael Bendis also did one of the best runs of Jessica Jones that they ever did, and guess who else was in that one? Luke motherfucking Cage. And guess who Brian Michael Bendis also wrote a comic series about? Iron Fist and Luke Cage. Guess what it was called? Heroes for Hire. Fuck yes! It's my hope that that'll happen. We don't know for sure if it's going to happen, but it is my hope. And that would be very cool. Anywho, that's the episode. Tomorrow, we will be talking more about... Actually, no, I don't think I have anything specific planned tomorrow. This was supposed to be... Yeah, Luke Cage, they definitely... But then again, Finn Jones was also shown in New York working out. Who knows why? But it you know, maybe he's shaping up. I don't know. And he doesn't look like he has that Ozempic bod. He looks like he's got that superhero bod. All right? I don't know. I would love to see them give him another chance. I don't think that he got the... I don't think he got the chance that he should have. And I think they need to give him another. That's my humble opinion. Anywho, tomorrow we'll probably just be playing games, I guess. I didn't have any more lolcal or drama shit to go over. I'm a bit burnt out on it. We did the last 3 days talking about that dude Duke and how fucking weird he is. If you like VODs, please feel free to go and watch that. But for now, that is it for this stream. Thank you if you've been watching. Thank you very much, Smoke, for hanging out. Skippy, as always, I wish you luck in whatever raid you're engaging in tonight. If you even really play WoW, this could just be all an elaborate troll, and maybe you've never played WoW a day in your life. You never know. Absolutely, Smoke. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.